And welcome back to ScavTalk, everyone. Today's episode, we're discussing the very popular, not controversial at all, streamer challenge that everyone's enjoying and having a good time, except for someone in the podcast, not gonna name anyone. Followed by, we're discussing a logical ban and unban, of course. Then there's a Twitch Rivals event coming up, which looks to be pretty cool. I took a peek at the rules, looks pretty neat. We got some statistics from our favorite statistician, GigaBeef, as always. Then we're going to be going over some comments, a couple of those we can squeeze in, and then closing with my own coming to terms of my own disillusion with Tarkov. R.I.P.
R.I.P. So, what have I been up to this week, Giga? What have you been up to? I've been up to nothing Tarkov related. I was originally going to be doing the streamer challenge, like I talked about last week, presumably. Did I say that? I think I said I was going to enter, but I don't think we knew all of the details about it. So I was going to be streaming 8 hours every day from. It was originally Sunday, and then they changed it to Monday through to is it going to finish like next Wednesday from today's date? Because today it's been on for 5 days. Today is the 5th day. And then because of the way that things panned out, I ended up not participating at all. Actually, just getting a bit annoyed in general and not streaming at all, which was quite a turnaround. So let's take it right back to the beginning, right? So the streamer challenge from the outset. We talked through the different rules on, I think it was the ScavTalk 2 weeks ago. They announced the rules. They had the video where they showed each day, and each day had like a series of points and yada, yada, yada. And I think if you go to, even just like, let's just look at the first one, right? So day one, we said previously, like eliminate killer for 5 points, Bitcoin for 10, graphics card for 2, Scav on interchange is 1, Scav with an SMG is 1, any streamer item is 1 point, right? So I think we already pretty much determined what the meta was going to be here on the cast. It's pretty obvious when you read it through that killing 3 scavs with an SMG is going to be worth more than killer. No one's really going to go and farm killer. Like, where you even find a Bitcoin and interchange, God only knows. And finding a GPU for 2 points is also just crazy, right? And so pretty much all of the tasks are of this particular type. So we kind of knew this going in, and to be honest, like it is a little bit of a dull rule set, I will say, but we knew that before we were going in, right? So all of the, and there are various complaints that people are making about the rule set and whatever, which like, I guess you could argue that it's only really emerged afterwards, but like I don't think that's really valid because I think it's pretty obvious reading the rule set. Now? That it's, now that we've played it, like actually the rule set is just kind of boring and not very good. But I would argue that you honestly should have known, like already, just taking 3 seconds to think about the rules and how you would play. Like it's really obvious that it's basically a scav farming event. Like to be fair, because all of the maps are the same. So people who are complaining about that, I don't think is necessarily fair, but we'll get into that a little bit later. What was slightly more critical though is that the way the rules are designed, you have 8 hours in a 24-hour time period to complete the challenge. It's on separate special accounts, which are level 42 and have level 30 skills across. I don't know if it's across the board. I'm not even sure, but it's like 30 strength, 30 endurance. So the important ones are level 30. Your timer starts as soon as you press the button to start the first raid. That's when the 8 hours begins. You have to complete the 8 hours continuously from the time at which you press. Well, you don't, as I've argued with many people on Twitter, you don't have to. You could go and take a break if you want, but your timer will run continuously from the point at which you press raid start, right? And you have to do it all in one go. So there's no, like, even if you log out, the timer still runs down, and at the end of your 8 hours, your character cannot go back into raid. So that's it. That's the end of your day. Now, the issue with this is that rather than doing some kind of like locally adjusted time or whatever, what ends up mattering, or what ends up being a real problem, is the time for each day's like start and finish is set globally. I can't see any reason for this other than making it slightly easier for them to administer, but it ends up making it viciously unfair on anybody that lives in a certain time zone. And in our case, it's basically anybody who lives in EU. Because what has happened is that the time zone where the daily cutoff is, for me, and basically everybody else in Europe who's an hour ahead of me, is for me, it's 1 p.m. And so for someone like Glorious living in Denmark, it's 2 p.m. And everyone in Germany and everyone in France is 2 p.m.
That's the start time?
That's the start and end time for each day. So every day
Start
begins.
and end time.
Yeah, because day one starts at 1 p.m. on Monday
Mm-hmm.
and finishes at 1 p.m. on Tuesday. Then day 2 begins at 1 p.m. on Tuesday and finishes at 1 p.m. on Wednesday.
Okay, interesting. So okay. So I didn't understand that, but you're saying that within that 24-hour period, essentially, you can play 8 hours and your timer starts when you launch your first raid.
Correct.
Essentially. Okay. Got it.
Correct.
I'm caught up.
So if you begin at, let's say, I mean, just for argument's sake, let's say you begin at midday, you only get an hour in the UK before the day ends, right?
I don't follow.
So you have to complete day one, 8 hours in one continuous block between the hours of 1 p.m. Monday and 1 p.m. Tuesday.
Right.
So for somebody in the UK, the best, the like least disruptive, like most ordinary hours that you're physically capable of doing is either 1 p.m. until 9 p.m. or 5 a.m. until 1 p.m. Those are the two best times you can do. And you're not even allowed to do the early one on the first day.
True.
You have to do 1 until 9 on the first day. Now, what this ended up doing was basically anybody who is on the EU time zone who has like any responsibilities outside of Tarkov whatsoever, you ended up not being able to play. Because I had planned on playing 8 until 5, right? Which would have fitted into my normal day. And that would have been totally fine. But the reason, I can't just go on into the evening and skip over like dinner and whatever. And you look at, there's lots of people who pulled out for that exact reason. Glorious being one of them, because he has a young child, right? And you could play in the normal day hours and it's fine. And the reason why this is so unfair is because if you're in NA, if you're on East Coast, you can play 8 till 5, it's fine, because it begins at 8.
Right.
And if you are on West Coast, it's okay, because the time cutoff starts at 5 a.m. So you can basically just, whenever you want during the day, it's no problem, just do 8 hours, it's fine. Whereas for EU, it really sucks. So it's actually, to be honest, it's probably worse. The cutoff is right in the center of the day. So you can't play any 8-hour time block that hits 1 p.m. You're not, or 2 p.m. You're not allowed. You just can't. Or you'd lose hours or whatever. Like if you think you have got any realistic chance of winning, and this is like the number of arguments I've had on Twitter of people being like, well, you don't have to play the full. It's just like, guys, look, if you're going to enter a competition and you can't even realistically play the full length of time, yeah, there's people who are entering it for fun. That's completely fine. I don't want to enter a challenge like that if I don't feel that I can at least, I'd like to see where I rank. Rather than, you come 400th and you're like, I could only play 6 hours of the 8. You go, well, where could I have got to, could I have got higher? No, it doesn't tell you anything, right? You want to rank yourself amongst your peers, even if you don't come first. I at least want to be able to play fully. Otherwise, I just don't really see the point in doing it. But yeah, that's the thing. It basically, the way that the timing works it makes anybody in EU, just makes it very difficult to actually play the challenge properly unless you literally only play Tarkov and that is all you do. People I was totally willing to do the 8 hours in the normal time period. And even if it had gone up to 6 or whatever, then that would have been okay. But the fact that I have to play until 9 or I have to get up and play at 5 a.m., it's just not really, it's not sensible, honestly. It's not sensible. And the fact that none of the other time zones had to do that, I just thought was bitterly unfair. So that was my main gripe about it, because if we'd been given the ability to play within our own local time zone, an 8-hour block, then that would have been fine. Whereas I mean, to be honest, 8 hours is probably too long anyway. Like, it's not necessary for it to be 8 hours. It could have been 4 hours and have been just the same, to be perfectly honest. But
Yeah,
the windowing is what shafted so many of us in EU.
yeah. I mean, it's not like you're doing this for like 1 or 2 days. This is like a week and a half.
It's over a week, yeah. So it covers like the weekend as well. So it's like a full week and the weekend, and then a couple more days.
It's a really big time commitment for a virtual item to be. I mean, I don't know. Depends how much you really value that. Your name or brand being cemented in the video game. I don't know. Maybe
Kind of. I mean,
maybe
the
it's
thing is that
worth.
I was happy to enter just for the challenge, just to do it without. I honestly had no expectation of being anywhere near the top 10 even.
Mm-hmm.
But I just kind of wanted to be part of it and just like see how I did. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But yeah, like Chad's saying, right? Your point is more on the challenge being unattainable for streamers that are not full time or able to dedicate 8 hours continuously. Yes and no. But what I would say is quite telling is the number of full time Tarkov creators in EU that were simply not able to play because of the time zone. Right? There were people who are full time streamers in EU that weren't able to play because of the time cutoffs. Because they're like, it's so antisocial. As I said, like best case, you're finishing at 9 p.m. or beginning at 5 in the morning. That's like best case. That just that doesn't work for most people for a week and a half. Unless you literally have nothing, like unless you don't have any other responsibilities at all. Right. Most people can't do that. Like even if you're a full-time Tarkov streamer, like you have hours. There's a reason why you have hours and schedule or whatever.
There's some degenerate EU streamer that's completely upside down and they're like rejoicing they can stream at any time in the middle of the night that they want.
Yeah, but that's the thing. It's like for that kind of person, it's fine and it doesn't affect them. But my main point to most people was they could have designed the challenge in a way that allowed everybody to compete.
Well,
without affecting the challenge in any way. Like this time ruling, as far as I'm concerned, is just a L. There's nothing positive about it. It's not like, oh, but for this downside we gained X. It's just like it could have simply been designed better so that everyone could have participated fairly. And that's it. There is no upside to it. It's just stupid.
Here's the W, though. Okay, here's the W. When you have all these different streamers competing 9 days, and they're all streaming at the same time zone, what happens? That increases the likelihood of you get your bumped up in the Twitch lists, Look at ScavTalk, it's in the top 10 category. Oh my god. Something big's happening in Tarkov. Why are all these streamers streaming? Article published. I'm of the opinion that this is just like one big marketing. I mean, it's kind of genius. I'm not saying, evil. They're like some evil mastermind genius, but if it was designed in that way, it makes sense that you would do that, to have everyone stream on the same time.
But they aren't even streaming at the same time, right? Because you can pick your 8 hours within the 24.
I guess that's true, yeah.
So some people were streaming, for my time at least, because that's the way I'm thinking. Some people were streaming from 1 until 9, my time. Some people were streaming, I guess, what would it be? Like, 5 a.m. until 1 p.m. at the end of the slot. So people were streaming at all times through the freaking time zone anyway.
Yeah, it literally makes no sense.
Oh, dude, I'm so frustrated.
There's gotta be some reason.
To hide it a bit, but it's because it's easy to administer. It's because it's lazy.
I mean, that seems
and easy to administer. That's the reason. And we'll just X out one region because we can't be asked to actually design it properly. I'm actually genuinely annoyed about it. I even replied to Nikita on his actual post about it because it's such an L. It's such an L. Because I wanted to freaking play, dude.
Did you tell him fat L, bro?
I didn't say fat L. I said it was a good idea, but the way it's been implemented is just it's very unfair against EU streamers. It's so annoying. It's genuinely just so irritating.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I guess that makes sense for easy administration purposes. Even that doesn't really. Yeah, I guess it's just easier to.
It's because they set these servers with a cutoff globally, right? That's why. So that the time starts globally in every region in one particular at one time, and then it cuts off at one particular time as well. Like it's the same for all servers, no matter where you are. But it's so dumb, right? Because like they know where the servers are. You can still play. You're playing public servers anyway, so they could literally just pick up your region and do a the time windowing based upon your region rather than it being
right.
you know I don't know, man. And then like because I was
I don't
thinking
know,
of that,
dude.
I was like, oh well, people play. Oh, but people could like game it, so they play later maybe, so then they see what people
Yeah.
did, and then like, but like that could happen anyway now because of the 24-hour window. So I was like, well, that's not even an argument. Like I can't think of any reason other than like it's slightly easier to administer. I can't think of any reason why they would do it this way.
Don't know, man.
Yeah, it sucks.
I think that's probably the likely answer.
Yeah. So that was the reason why I ended up not participating because I was like, I wanted to participate and give it a good go in the full way that the challenge was set up. And I didn't really care where I came, but I wanted to see at least where I did come, giving it my all, if that makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
The rule set, being totally honest with you, like we said, is pretty dull. So I didn't want to play it for fun. Actually, I wanted to play it to compete and to challenge myself and
I
see
gotcha.
where I came. I didn't want to play the rule set like 2 or 3 hours a day just to see because honestly it feels like a waste of time. I can't use any of that footage for content either. Thinking of like the business art angle because it's just not an interesting challenge really from a content perspective.
Yeah.
And it's not actually that fun to play, I don't think, unless you're competing and looking at the rankings. And so that's so I just ended up deciding actually I'm not going to play it at all. I don't even see the point in beginning this thing, which is it's sad and unfortunate, but I think it was the right answer. It also gave me a bunch of time back, and I got through like loads of
Yeah.
stuff offline that I really needed to get done. So it did save me like 9 days of I mean, yeah, that's a lot of time. It's like 72 hours of rubbish that I managed to get back and not have to do, and actually, get loads of things done usefully in IRL and see my family and. So it ended up being like kind of a sort of small win. And as we were talking about, I sort of ended up. Well, he ended up sort of like because it became like a bit of a break because I ended up not even streaming properly. And oh yeah, so this is random. Somebody's Tackleberry in chats just reminded me about this. It was sort of almost a saving grace that I didn't play because we've had like contractors from OpenReach doing all sorts of random stuff around in our area. And on Tuesday morning at 11 a.m., my fiber line got disconnected.
Yeah, that would have been a bit of a bummer.
And it didn't get reconnected until mid-afternoon on Wednesday. So
you would have missed a day then, yeah.
I would have missed a day, and then the Wednesday I'd have had to have gone until like 11 p.m. or something to like make up the hours. So it was actually almost I don't know. I was like the stars have sort of aligned. Well, I guess like the piles of poop have aligned.
The piles of poop aligned. Yeah.
Like
I get it.
The challenge
totally
being
get it.
terrible meant that I ended up like not being impacted by my line outage.
Right.
Oh man. Yeah, it was annoying. But the other guy, he was just like, it was actually quite funny. The guy came here and then he was like, oh, let me do a test. And he like hooked this box up. And I guess because it's like fiber, because they're just like glass cables. I presume if it's disconnected, you can like the glass air interface at the end has got some reflection on it, so they can tell how far it went before the discontinuity happened, which is kind of cool. He was like, he looked at the thing because I actually thought it might be something our end, and he was like, oh no, he said the fault is 2 kilometers away. So he was like, it's definitely at the box. So he went to the box and he was just like, yeah, some numpties like pulled it out of the thing. He said your line's just flashing away in there in the box just to nothing. So he was like, I've replugged it all in and it's all fine now. It's like, oh, he said, yeah, we keep having these issues with contractors just pulling stuff. Yeah, he was like, we keep having problems with contractors just like unplugging stuff and not putting stuff back.
That's so annoying, dude. I'd be so pissed if I heard that.
Yeah, exactly. So I was like, oh my God. So bizarrely it ended up like, I don't know. It was like chance and fate and luck, but in all the wrong ways. Yeah, and poop. Two wrongs end up making right. I don't know.
Yeah.
It was all weird.
I mean, for me, man, it's just like the rules were just not, as we said, just not very interesting. It just looked like a big scav farm. There's no like incentive for PMC. It's just and then you got to factor in you're playing like 8 days for 8-hour blocks. It's just like, bro, it's such a big time commitment. And then the rewards like a streamer item, someone like me, I really couldn't care less. I mean, it'd be kind of cool, but I don't know. It's just that much time commitment for that. It's not for me.
Yeah, I appreciate that. Yeah. I mean, that's the thing. Like, I would have played it if it would have been normal times and it would have been fine and I'd have done it. Like, I'm the kind of personality where I can just sit there and like grind some mundane thing if it's like if I've set my mind to it and like I've decided I'm going to do it, I will just go and do it. Which, to be honest, this challenge would put you ahead of a lot of people because there's a whole lot of people who just get very bored and don't want to do it anymore. For whatever reason, either they're bored or they think it's bad content. Because to be honest, it probably is if you're a full-time streamer. And yeah, I don't know. I think the rule set, as we said, it's just like fundamentally flawed. It's basically just a scav farming event. The bosses just aren't worth going after for the points that they give. I think like today is going on right now. It's just begun and it is reserve, I think. So I mean, this one at least it felt like you get 5 points for Blueheart, 2 points for each of his guards. So I know there's a lot of them, so you could potentially get a few points, but it's just weird, right? Because a scav is a point, and a scav with an assault rifle is also a point. So you get the same amount of points for killing a scav with an assault rifle as you do for killing a Glueheart guard. It just doesn't seem like sensible at all. And then there's like no PvP angle whatsoever. Like you don't even get anything for killing players, which is weird. And some people are like, oh well, people could just go and like they could go and farm kill, or like the viewers could farm kills of whatever. Like people could feed them kills something. But yeah, you could do that with scav anyway, right? You could do that with you could try and queue in and just like feed someone scav. I guess it's harder to target a raid with scav, I suppose.
I'm still confused.
Like, halfway, but
can you go in as a scav and kill scavs and get points that way?
You can.
That's
yeah. Okay, so I've been.
This rules are so stupid.
I'm way too invested in this due to my outrage, and I've been spending a lot of time reading the questions and things from the streamer challenge. Right, so there's one rule which is 5 survives and you get 10 points that we talked about. If you play scav in between any of those raids, it stops your survival streak. You have to start again. So it's 5 survives on either scav or PMC consecutively. So you basically aren't allowed to play scav. You can't really
even
play
if you
scav.
don't die on either, if you just alternate, it just doesn't count. Okay,
that doesn't count. No,
it nulls everything out.
Yeah.
Wow.
So you basically can't play scav unless you've just died as PMC.
Right.
There's no point playing scav. And if you survive that one, then you could have got another. Unless you want to do like just a quick run to get some cash or something. I don't know. Like maybe you could do scav factory just to run through and get some money because the points don't count on it. But take 2 seconds. Maybe you get some cash if you're running out. But you basically can't play scav either because of the whole.
If you're broke, which I assume would be really hard to do, but maybe it's possible.
People are getting there.
You would scav and you come back, and if you failed your scav, you can't. Well, I guess it wouldn't matter because you failed. You just have to wait again.
Yeah, you just have to wait, so it doesn't really matter. But maybe you could get a little influx. So yeah, everybody started because I don't think we knew all the rules. So everyone started with 25 million. And like a bunch of dollars and a bunch of euros. I think maybe it was $30K, $30K euros or something like that. Or maybe it was a bit less. Maybe it was 20K. I don't remember. But you had like a lot of dollars, a lot of euros, and then like 25 mil. And I know people are down to probably like on average about half, I think, because you aren't allowed to use the flea, which is probably the most interesting restriction that I saw about the whole playset. Is that you've got max traders. I think you're level 42 when you start, but you can't use the flea. Only the traders, which is weird, right? Because
do you have a hideout?
You do have a hideout, but it's at level 0.
Okay.
So you can upgrade it, and I did actually see on Airwing stream because I watched this for like a little bit just to see. He was taking toilet paper out of raid in his skill container to go and upgrade the hideout. Yeah, just so he could like craft fabrics so that he could then buy certain armors because there was certain, you can't get most of the armors. Like the only what can you actually physically buy now? Well, you need 4 diaries for a crun. Okay, well you can't get that because you can't get the fleet. You cut the gazelle barters. The gazelle cash purchase is gone. You could basically buy like class 4. And the Reduce M. The Reduce M is like 250K. So you're going to run out of, or 240K. So you're going to run out of money very quickly if you do that a lot. Because you have to cycle a lot of raids, right? That's part of the issue with this challenge is that there's, other than the items taking out of raid, which give you points, you're more incentivized really just to go and kill scavs. And like extracting takes time. So you all kind of almost want to die. Like not really, but you know what I mean? Like if you find the last scav and then you kind of want to just like grenade yourself, sort of.
Yeah.
I don't know.
If you have like a very, low investment kit, it might actually be worth. If it takes you 5 minutes to extract, you might as well just kill yourself. if you don't have anything valuable.
Yeah, because the scav kills aren't contingent on survives. So,
Because like wires are worth like less than 5K, if I recall correctly.
yeah, I don't know, something
Like
something low.
4,000 rubles to the vendor. Like everything that we're used to like selling for a lot on the fleet is just like,
Oh yeah, 10K exactly. 10 to 20K is worth nothing to the traders,
like
really. Bundle of wires is 4,600 to therapists.
PSU is worth like 1,000 rubles.
Yeah, it's worth 5,000
But
rubles.
if you make caps out of it, you can make a little bit of extra bank. But I think you need, I don't know what
yeah, but
workbench you
capacitors
need.
are worth 1,500 to the trader.
Yeah. And how much was a PSU worth, did we say?
I don't even, what did we say?
That was like
5K?
Oh, it's 5K? Okay, I thought it was like 1,000.
But then the capacitors, then you make, how many is it, 8 or something? That's only
Yeah.
12K for doing the craft, you know? And then you got to find fuel. You can't buy that. I guess you could buy it from Jaeger.
That's why I
There's
asked,
probably no
like,
point.
yeah, I mean, because you have to upgrade the hideout. But it would be kind of interesting if you could, you know, if they gave you like a hideout, like maybe a fully decked out one. So if you found like a graphics card, I don't know. It's a long challenge. Maybe it would make sense.
Yeah.
Maybe not. But anyways,
I think Ewing's idea of being able to craft fabrics is a good idea because you won't necessarily find enough otherwise. And there's a lot of the armor barters that require fabrics, at least like the Bagari and like some of those things. So I think that makes sense. That makes sense because you can buy fleece hats and you can buy Kajura sling bags from Ragman, right? So you can make Kajuras.
Right.
You can make fleece. Could you make ripstop? Aramid? Yeah, you could buy packers.
Like you can make some ammo, some like trash loot, like some nails that sell for nothing to the vendor.
Maybe, but you can buy all the ammo. So it's kind of not like ammo's less of an issue, I think, because you can buy most of it. It's mainly armor. Like armor's the one because armor, like especially high level armor, like class 5, it's so restricted to barters.
Yeah, you're gonna want protection against scavs because you're gonna be fighting scavs. You don't need armor pin against scavs, right?
I wonder if anybody's just like spamming the Osprey from Peacekeeper. I don't know if all the quest unlocks are in there or not, but if you've done Peacekeeper, because I know some of the quest unlock items were in the list. Because if you do Peacekeeping mission, you can buy the class 5 Osprey, which is what I've been using in my real raids actually, and it's all right. But it costs dollars, and you get dollars in the challenge. Dollars aren't really that useful for much else.
We do have euros, Glock magazines.
You can buy the CQR handguard.
Yeah, I hate how euros are so like useless and weird.
Yeah,
like,
it's kind of an afterthought.
Like it's actually really annoying because Mechanic 1 has like a bunch of Glock attachments and such that are like euros, and like new players like myself back in the day would spend the money on it, not realizing that you need later on down the road you need like 15K, and there's no vendor that sells euros because I just assumed that later you could buy euros.
Well, you can buy them from Skier.
Oh, you can. That's right. Dude, I'm sorry to touch.
Yeah. Okay, so honestly, there's so much about this thing. So what next? So the rule set, the rule set's kind of busted. No PvP
Did
incentives.
we mention it's on live servers with the public population? So wait, even the traders as well? So like BP could just be sold out?
I guess. Yeah, I guess so. I guess that's the way. Do you know what? One thing I did find really funny was the number of people complaining about level 30 and level 30 strength, level 30 endurance. There was a bunch of guys who were just like, they were like, oh man, level 30 endurance and strength, like it's so rough. Like it's so rough playing the game with that. And I was just like, man, like my strength and endurance is like 20 on my main character, like now. And I've never had max on either.
I didn't say
like we're genuinely playing different games.
If their bar is like max, I mean, yeah, I mean, I think the perks are just insanely good.
Well, I know you had max strength that one white, right? And it's because you ground to it and just to see what it was like, and you said you like mid raid, you always feel like the step change in your PMC.
Yeah, it was like great because you just like instantly lose at least 5 kilos from your gun. I mean, it used to be insanely busted.
I mean, it was crazy.
Was it like your backpack would just like be weightless, like everything in there would just not count or something? It used to be so busted, but it's still really good.
I can't remember what used to not even count. It was like almost nothing counted.
I think it was like your gear I think only the item. Okay, I think it was only the
Was it like
items in your
the
backpack.
items in the backpack? All the gear was
Everything
like
else
nothing?
was like weightless. Yeah, I think that's what
It was so
It
mad.
was so stupid. Stupid as in like completely busted.
Yeah. So, but I thought that was quite funny because I was just like, it's just like the guys who play enough to get to max like early in the wipe. It's just like, as we said, they're playing a completely different game. And you look at some of the stuff that, Willer's like CEO of Movement and all of this stuff, right? With the jump, and Desmond, right? With the jump shooting and all this stuff, whatever. Like, I'm not even sure if it's physically possible on my character. Some of the things that they get up to, like you just can't even do it because you don't run as fast, so you can't jump as far.
You could do it, but it won't be as good.
You could do a little bit of it, but
right.
There's like a lot of it that's just you just don't get a chance to like. You just don't get a chance to play in the same way, right? So it's just it's tricky. Okay, so what next? What next? Oh yes, and then so there was the main piece of drama again at the beginning was and this is just dumb. Streamers with streamer items entering the challenge.
Mm-hmm.
There was a load of drama about that because people were upset that streamers with streamer items were entering a challenge where the idea is to win a streamer item for whatever reason. If they win it, they can have another one. I know a lot of them ended up saying like, "I'm just here for the challenge. Like, it's just something to do.
Right.
I'll forfeit it or whatever. Like, I don't care." Because like they don't really care about having a streamer item, really, right? They just want to enter the challenge. So that was completely like unfounded, just like I don't know, created rage for no reason.
Well, I did see someone push back, basically saying, if a streamer who has a streamer item wins this challenge, then that means that everyone else didn't deserve it, or something to this effect.
Yeah.
Like they earned their challenge. It was like anyways, the point being is just like the people that got their streamer items did not get it through competing 80 hours.
Yeah.
In the span of like 9 days. So I don't, what I mean? The people that got their items got it for presumably, whatever you want to call it, nepotism or playing favorites.
Well, it's just for being popular and being a good ambassador for the game, basically, right? That's the way I'd put it.
Sure. Dr. Disrespect, classic example.
Yeah, exactly. A lot of eyeballs. Like basically, if you market the game well, you can get a stream item. That's really it. So like, I mean, it's fair enough.
Yeah, so I just don't feel like it's the way you earned it was completely different than someone else in this streamer challenge thing.
Yeah.
So I could understand someone being upset at that case, like especially when upset at that statement. I guess it just doesn't really. Yeah, it doesn't vibe well with me.
Yeah. But they did increase the number. Originally, it was just going to be like one streamer item. And then they changed it to 3. So now the top 3.
Oh, okay. That's nice.
Are going to get an item, not just the first place. Because like first place out of like the original number of contestants was like 1,454. So like there's so many talented people who know the game inside out, know where to farm stuff. Like it may not be the most interesting challenge ever, but the guys who are super good know how to do it really well and really efficiently. And to be number 1 out of that, it's like we said last week, it's a bit of a random chance thing. You just got to be the one who just pushes every single scav location or every whatever the objective is in the particular challenge, and just goes for it wholeheartedly and just tries to get as many as possible. And sometimes you'll just get lucky and end up with like a bazillion scavs, and someone will get none in their raid, or someone's killed them all because it's public servers. So it's a bit of a the whole thing's a bit of a coin flip. But yeah, I think it's fine. Make it top 3. I think it's okay. It makes sense. I just don't have to collect those items for Kappa. Make even more random items in game. To be fair, like more random loot items, like I guess it's fine. It adds flavor. Like it's no big deal. It's no big deal. Yeah, I'm not that bothered. So okay. So what happened? What happened after that then? So as things have continued on, there's now you'll probably see more of this actually as the challenge continues. There is lots of complaints about stream sniping for a start. People just getting like stream sniped by whoever, randoms, disgruntled, whatever people, just to disrupt them and whatnot, which is that's kind of whatever. But then there's also there's a whole load of stuff about individuals going around disrupting streams on purpose or disrupting individuals. So there's kind of like 3 stages. There's people who are just griefing, which is like, it's the internet or whatever. And there's people who then there's people who are like specifically trying to disrupt, or there's people who were in the challenge who decided not to partake because it's an L for whatever reason in their mind. Probably like, I feel like I have a legitimate reason not to like the way that it's been structured, right? Whereas other people just like, oh no, PvP L. But like as I said, we knew this already, so I don't think that's valid, right? If you signed up based on the rule set, like we didn't know the timing of the cutoff until literally 1 day before, because for some reason it was kept a super secret what the timing of the cutoff was going to be. Maybe they're like, this is crap, but we can't fix it. So that's why they left it right until the last minute. I don't know. So I signed up not knowing what the time cutoff was, and then pulled out because the time cutoff was released later and was awful. Whereas a bunch of people signed up and, oh no, this event sucks. Maybe they played it for 2 hours and was like, actually, this is incredibly boring. But then they changed. I don't actually know who these people are, but there's enough of them around, if you read the reports, of then flipping over and just trying to disrupt people instead. So they were part of the challenge, and then they've gone around like basically griefing other people, like camping the extract and stuff, just to be a pest. I think that happened a lot on the interchange day, because extracts on interchange, we've talked about it a million times. And then there's you started to see now some murmurings of people asking communities, like maybe allegedly, right? Allegedly asking their communities to go and disrupt other streamers who are like high running in the challenge to push, to allow themselves easier route up to the higher levels of the leaderboard.
Why?
Now there's going to be a lot of fake stuff coming out about this. People are going to try and frame people who are saying this as well.
I've already seen it.
Yeah.
I've already seen it.
It's going to come from both sides. Some people, of course, somebody is going to be a dumbass and try and do it. And then some other people will be targeted by trolls making a fake claim with like Discord screenshots that are all faked or whatever. And both will happen.
I saw a clip, and I mean it's kind of cut and dry to me. But I'm not going to watch the VOD and get the full context. And could have just been a joke, but it was just like, I don't know, it's just weird. I don't really care, but it just came up, and it was like, whatever. Dude, why are they doing a pub? That's another reason why I could never play in something like this. Just, I hate public. Like, I just have zero interest in public. It's like from a viewer perspective as well. Just like public lobbies. Like, it's just dumb. They're like just asking for trouble.
They are. And then because people are playing public lobbies and you're able to pick your region still, people are picking the servers that are like in the middle of the night that are nowhere near them. So if you're in EU, you could play like, I don't know, West Coast US. I mean, I don't even know if you're allowed to do that, but like, I've never even looked into any of this rubbish. So like, I don't bother with these like metagame things. But basically, people are picking dead servers where it's the middle of the night for wherever the region is, and they then are like just under the ping limit, but still within it.
Right.
So when they go into PvP, you have a huge advantage because you can abuse Pika's advantage much more strongly, right? Because like the ping thing goes both directions, but in terms of Pika's advantage for like the first mover thing, like obviously you stay out of the corner longer, and when you try to peek back in, yeah, exactly, and they get the second advantage, yeah. But because a lot of the time in Tarkov, that's all you need. And I saw Desmond complaining about it because I don't know what he was like. I don't know whether he was playing somewhere else or not. Like, I'm not even sure actually. Where did he say? Yeah, he was saying that he can, if he wants to, right, he can play Colombia as an NA West server. And he was like, genuinely, like he was like, you just kill like tons of streamers and everybody in that server. And when you look at it from their perspective, you're literally on their screen for like 3 frames, and then they're dead. But he's like halfway into the corridor. He's like unloaded half his mag. He was like, it's so busted. So people are playing like all sorts of like random servers to try and get an advantage as well. So that the lobbies are dead because everyone just wants to farm more scavs. No one wants to play against other players.
Yeah.
Because why should you? Because of the rule set.
I mean, I can't really fault them for, taking advantage of the mechanics, quote unquote.
I agree with that. That's on BSG to lock it to also.
That's what I'm saying, man. It's just I don't know who cooked this up, but man, they were cooking a little too much.
Yeah. Oh man, so that was that. God, and then what else? So what was the last one? So the last one now, actually, I'm quite interested to see this. So we've got the where's the scoreboard gone? I've got the scoreboard somewhere. Oh, here it is. Let's have a little refresh of the ye oldie scoreboard. So right now, Tamathi is number 1. I don't know who they are. And Vibin is number 2, and Suddenly Toast is number 3 at the minute. So we know Vibin. We know Vibin. At the top of the list previously was a player called Billy or something.
Yeah,
I know
feel like I've
that's
heard
like
that
one
name
of the.
somewhere.
I think it's because that's one of the Chinese platforms. So I don't know. That's not their actual
Okay.
username. But it's like the Chinese streaming platform. Let me see if I can find it quickly. Let's have a look. Because basically, so a player from that streaming platform was at the top.
I'm at the bill all these streamers for the advertisement right now.
Exactly. I'm trying to find the receipts, and I can't.
Hey, look.
Anyway, it doesn't really
GigaBeef.
matter.
There's GigaBeef.
Oh, well, what number am I?
You're not last.
I'm not last.
Trent's taking that spot.
Good.
You're 1,451.
Oh man, it's crazy. Anyway, yeah, it doesn't really matter. I can't find the name, but anyways, it's one of those streamers, and that player was originally number 1, and I saw a screenshot from Trey because they were, lo and behold, one of the same players who was selling 200 LEDXs on the flea.
Oh, interesting.
So I mean, is that impossible? Like, of course not.
Wait. Time out. They were selling on their tournament account 200 LEDXs?
No, on their main account.
How do they link the two up? Oh,
Because
I guess they have the same name.
You're on the list. On the list name is your actual like in-game name.
Gotcha.
On your main.
Gotcha.
Yeah. So they were selling 200 LEDXs on the main.
That's
on
a
their
lot
main.
of LEDXs.
It's a lot of LEDXs, and yeah, as I said, right. Look, it's possible. Is it improbable? Highly, right?
I don't even know what map you would even do that on.
Woods, I guess.
Yeah, maybe.
But yeah, I don't know. I don't know. Like,
are they on the list still?
Well, chat's saying like he collected them legit. It was all streamed, but it was influenced by his community. I don't know, man. Either way, they've been disqualified from the tournament.
Oh,
we don't know what for.
Interesting,
but they are no longer on the list.
Is it this person, Billy -2 Yun?
I don't think so. Because the interesting part about all of this, right? So I started collecting the statistics, which we'll talk about in a minute, right from the beginning. And there were 1,454 people, but there are only 1,452 people on the list now. So people who were disqualified were actually deleted.
Oh, how many?
Been saying it's Billy YMC. So there's 2 people who've been deleted from the list.
Oh, 2. So
not many.
Mm-hmm.
But that's the thing, right? It's kind of hard to police. You're probably like, if you, I guess this is another rule as well. If you break the rules and you're, under the 50%, under the 50%, under the 50% threshold, for like, to be honest, even if you're in like anywhere outside of the top 10% of players, you probably would just get away with it because, like, who cares,
right.
So it's probably only the top lot that are really under the scrutiny. So if anything gets reported about them, then maybe there'd be an issue. So yeah, I mean, like, what rule could you break? You say? I mean, so third-party help. This is one other thing that was like there was quite. I don't know. Lots of people asking a lot of questions about it and a bit confused at the beginning. Third-party help is not allowed. So your chat is not allowed to give you assistance. or point out items or say you've missed something or anything like that?
That's okay. I mean, when I hear third-party help and I, associate public servers, I'm assuming that means like stream sniping, but like your
It's all of it.
chatting
It's
to
everything. Everything outside of you playing the game. At the beginning, and they did actually re-clarify this. At the beginning, you weren't even allowed to use the Tarkov wiki. Now, how that was enforced, I don't know. But you weren't allowed to watch YouTube videos about Tarkov
Oh my God,
or anything.
dude.
They did clarify that you were able to use the Tarkov wiki. Officially,
Okay, so
they
the
said that
wiki's
you were allowed
fine.
to do that. The wiki
Okay.
was okay to use. I think that was after a day or two, though. They decided that was maybe okay. But your chat's not allowed. So your chat, you're not going to get, like, if somebody says like, "Oh, there's an item you need," like one time, you weren't going to get banned for that. It said like, sporadic accidental instances of chat assistance was okay. Just to kind of put people at ease. It wasn't like you would be able to go to some streamer's chat and be like, "Hey, have you considered doing this?" And then they acknowledge your chat or whatever, and then get banned immediately. Like people going around like trolling, like trying to get people disqualified for it.
Mhm.
That wasn't like they said that that's obviously not going to happen. That's silly. But yeah, it was, I don't know. Those you could get banned for those rules. Like because it's supposed to be strictly solos. There's no squads. You can't snipe into each other's games and get your community to help out either. Because you could do that quite easily, right? Like get people to queue in at the same time and like come to you and die with the items or whatever. So all of that stuff is prohibited, but it's quite hard to enforce, obviously, because that's all done off like people watching /VODs /manual like disqualification. So presumably that's what happened to the 2 people that have disappeared.
Yeah. But I mean, it's like you could easily just in your own Discord server, your 2 most trusted allies, your highest moderators. It's just, I don't know, man.
Of course, right.
Your most dedicated fans, you could put them to work,
Farming the map and then coming over and just dying to you, or whatever.
Right. You could send them off to stream snipe the person above you or the number one guy.
Yeah, that'd be even less detectable, honestly. Like people going and stream sniping the people higher.
Well, this is the other thing I heard people were complaining about. There's a lot of complaints about this, but honestly, I think the criticism is well warranted. I mean, it is I don't know. It's an event, okay? It's something streamer item cool. It's content in the quotation marks, whatever. There's people complaining about people not participating but playing on the maps on the day of the event. Looking for PvP.
Yeah, I think that's fine as long as you're not intentionally disrupting the event.
Well, like, okay, so here's the argument, right? It's like I'll just use Landmark example because I think it's a good example. I'm Landmark. I want a PvP. That's what I'm known for. That's what I'm good at. That's what this whole thing I'm doing is about. It's day 3. What map do I pick? Customs is popping. I think day 3 was customs. Was day 3 customs or was it day 2?
This was day 2, 3.
Whatever.
3, I think.
Yeah.
Wait, was it? Wait, what was it? Was it day 2?
Okay, fine. Now. It's day 1.
Who knows? Whatever. It doesn't matter. It doesn't even matter.
But you get my point, right? Like they're gonna go to the place where like players are gonna be at. Like, I mean, it just kind of makes sense to me. But it is funny because I did tune in a bit and he killed someone. And he was like, "No scabs for you, little bro," or something like that. I was just dying laughing. Because
that's the thing. Like, I think if it's incidental, like you're not targeting it, you're not just like, "Oh, let's go and extract camp and kill these streamer challenge dudes." Right? So as long as it's not like that, I think it's more about tone than it is about anything else. But like, in my opinion,
I mean, if you're exo camper, like, how do you? Like, can you not extract camp on the maps at the stream? Like, you know what I mean?
Again, like, I think if you
it's like, could you not make content out of this?
Like, if you are, yeah, but then probably don't participate, right? If you plan on making content,
right?
Like,
but like, what's stopping
involved?
What's stopping me from like, what's BSG gonna do? Like, I guess the worst they could do is ban me. But like, could I not just like make content around crapping on the streamer challenge people by like griefing them? You know what I mean?
I think like if that's what you're known for, if you're Exo Camper, if you're like Stankrat or somebody like that, I think I think that's like again, it's about tone, right? If you just do it out of nowhere, like if I did it, I think that's like really bad form. If it's your like bread and butter, and you aren't participating in the challenge. I think that's the thing. If people did participate and then they went, "Oh, this sucks. I'm now just going to ruin it." That's the perception and why
Yeah,
it looks
that's like
bad. I think.
poor sportsmanship.
Yeah, I think it's just poor sportsmanship. Like, there's no one's going to be able to do anything about it, but it just kind of looks bad, right? It just like hurts your brand to whoever, to BSG. Some people might think it's funny, like trolling, whatever, but it's just it's like, as you say, it's poor sportsmanship.
Let's say you're not. This is kind of another interesting thought. Is like, let's say you're not a contestant. You're just an average Joe, and you just want to play and just greet people for fun. Could you not just? Which is kind of interesting because it's almost like a difficulty crank in of the event's rule structure themselves. The rules are like, it's so badly designed that the added difficulty is the public population griefing you.
Partly, yeah.
It's kind of funny, honestly.
It is kind of funny, yeah.
Like, what if people you just like
utilizing and abusing the rule set to grief people?
I hate vibing so much. I'm gonna open up a stream and try to stream snipe them and grief them, like, and they have to just deal with it. Like, it's so shitty, honestly. I would be so pissed if I like caught wind of that and I was participating. God, I would be so bad.
Yeah, especially when it's public servers and people can grief you by like actually cheating.
Yeah, I mean that's like the worst.
So they know exactly where you are, and then they can just kill you.
Yeah, but they could just look at my streams. Like, they wouldn't even have to like actually cheat, like hardware or software cheat. You know what I mean?
Yeah, that's true. But I mean, there's a lot of people playing. So it's quite
like,
hard to snipe into people's games.
I thought you meant like cheat, like wall hacks or aimbot or something.
That's what I meant. Yeah.
Oh, okay. Yeah. But I mean, like I said, there's gonna be some hater out there that's like, I hate Ivan so much. He said I was cool in the chat. I'm gonna get him.
I sent him a Prime and he never responded.
He didn't read my message.
Didn't read my message. He just said thanks. Oh boy. Okay, so we're on day 5. We're only halfway through. Well, actually, day 5 has only even begun, so we're not even halfway through yet. I still suspect that something crazy is going to happen on day 10, but maybe not. Actually, maybe not now. I feel like maybe less so, just because it's already been going for such a long time, and I think everyone would agree if there was like a final stage. But
yeah, well, I mean, yeah, I mean, I don't know. I'm kind of curious about the timeline, because because there's Rivals coming up, like, feels like right after this, which I think...
what was the time? November the 16th. So that is, that's Thursday. And this thing finishes on Wednesday.
So, like, immediately afterwards.
7, 8, 9. Oh, does it finish on Tuesday? Okay, maybe it does. Oh, maybe the last day is Tuesday to Wednesday. Yes. So yeah, it does finish on Wednesday. Yeah. So yeah, it is right after it. Just before we talk about Rivals, should we? There's still 2 more things to discuss about this whole situation.
Oh, there's more? All right.
The first one is logical solutions. The arch nemesis of Nikita, who apparently they all made peace and they all made up at TwitchCon because they all met up and they had a nice time. And there's a picture of Dimitri with Logical being like, "Oh, everything's all good and we're starting afresh and we're gonna be having a good time." And then this post appears, which says, It says, "I guess they still hate me." This is a nice opening. And it says, "I was removed from the Tarkov streamer challenge after I took 8 days off of work to partake in the challenge and was excited thinking amends have been made. I was removed because I've violated the rules, in inverted commas. Although Nikita looked me in the face after shaking my hand and said, 'Everything is okay. I guess it's not. I just want a chance at this like everybody else. Is that too much to ask?'" And so it said here, "We notify you of your disqualification from the participation due to violation of the rules of the challenge and the license agreements, namely point 4.3.4 of the license agreement." And 4.3.4 is all the usual shenanigans about ways to override limitations, automated access to computer hacking, access to game software, basically data mining is 4.3.4. It's the data mining clause. Unauthorized connection, use of program defects, data retrieval, etc., etc. Interestingly, in there, something that I had not realized was Cybersport is also covered by this top. This is something of a side point, but use of the game for organizing cybersports or group competitions sponsored, promoted, or motivated by any commercial or non-commercial organizations without obtaining an additional license from BSG. I didn't realize that was in there. I mean, I guess that's standard wording and they probably don't care, but technically speaking, you're not allowed to run any tournaments of any kind without BSG's say so, which is, I don't know, it seems a bit weird, but
there's a lot in that agreement.
There is a lot in an agreement. There's a lot in every agreement, to be fair. Most of them, these things are more or less enforceable.
Yeah, Go ahead.
So where's the replies? Where's the replies to this?
What do you mean?
Oh, maybe it was not a reply. So to Logical's individual one, his first post. I think it. Oh, sorry, 1 sec. Oh god, I can't actually find it now. I can't find it. I'm trying to find the reply to Logical's post about being disqualified.
Who replied?
Dimitri, the head PR guy. There's a whole thread.
I think I got it here. Is this what you're looking for? Because Tobias. Okay, so Tobias posted. He says for context, and he posts the 4.3 clause.
Yes, it's under Tobias's post. That's fine. I couldn't find it because it's buried underneath. Okay, so yeah. So Dimitri said thank you, Tobias. Before writing this post, please make sure you do not break the rules. Tell people the truth only. And he said, I'm confused. My account isn't banned. I'm able to play the game, but I can't partake in the challenge. I've played 20 raids since I got denied, so I'm really confused as to where the disconnect is. And he said, dude, we discussed it in person. Why do you still want to say that you did nothing after our talk? And he said, I didn't say that. I said I'm able to play the game, so why am I not able to participate? So Dimitri actually then spells it out and says, why do you think, or anybody else, is still allowed to act like this in the few moments after the event had started? And he quote tweeted Logical's announcement of the Zavachi event, the cult event that we talked about last week, which says, Zavachi event, Zavachi on all maps, only 1 extract per map, 100% spawn rate. And then underneath that, it says there is an effect Zavachi causes by being near him that causes your gun to jam as well. You only lose extracts when in range of Zavachi as well, it seems. I have all extracts as I loaded into raid. And the long and the short of it is that they were like, basically you data mined the event and leaked all the information. And Logical spends a long time saying, no, I didn't do that. He showed a picture of his, is it Chatty? Is it basically his chat organizer for Twitch? He's like Logical's actually a nutcase. He's got like 30 streams. He was like, people just inundate me with information about stuff that happens in the game. He was like, I posted 15 minutes after the event had started and I had like, 1 billion people DMing me about what their experience was. I collected the information as best as I could and posted what I thought was right. And he was like, what I said wasn't even correct.
Right.
Because I tried to post it so quickly, right? Because he said 100% spawn rate on all maps, but that was not true because he wasn't on Factory, he wasn't on Labs. And then he said you only lose extracts with being in ranges of Archie as well, it seems, which was also wrong. Because you lost the extracts as soon as the event started. So like he was like, I just posted something as quick as I could with what the available information that we had. I didn't data mine anything. I just had the whole community telling me what was happening. Like what gives? Like what proof do you have that I've done any data mining here? Like how could you prove that I've done this? And how could you prove that that I've done the thing that you say I did? And he was like, this is the video in that quote tweet. He was like, this is literally a video somebody posted in my Discord. I downloaded it off streamable. It's not even my footage. It was somebody who shared it with me. I'm sharing gameplay from in the game. Am I not allowed to act like this?
Yeah. Apparently not.
And then he was unbanned from the stream challenge.
Which is hilarious. So there's a lot to say about this.
Later, right? He was unbanned from the streamer challenge. Later. The post says, back in the tournament, as I wake up to get ready for work, I see an email at 4 a.m. from BSG with my account information to play the streamer challenge. No prior communication that I would be allowed back in. After being disqualified, I cancelled all of my time off, and now I don't have the ability to go and actually play it, so I won't be participating. Such a shame they added me back in without telling me. I'd have loved to have actually participated properly. Thanks, I guess.
I would just like, this is the one time I feel like I'm going to say this about a company, but I would just like a company to just focus on making good product. it's just like what the policing they're trying to do is just like, I don't know, man. I don't know. So the other really interesting part too is, so not only the Tobias comment, which Tobias used to work for,
Correct.
I don't know if he was actually like,
Yeah, he worked for BSG. He was,
okay, okay,
I think he was the EU community manager,
okay,
like
okay.
lead or something even. But he was one of the community managers for EU.
But I mean, I guess he was a previous colleague, and he's pretty pro. I'd say like he's very like pro BSG. Like he'll often take their side.
Yeah, he's become more balanced since leaving, but yeah.
To be fair, but I just find it kind of weird that he's weighing in a bit more. But whatever, I mean, that's his prerogative, whatever. But the really interesting part I want to get to was because Tobias kind of like started it, and then it just was like Dimitri and logical. But there was one really interesting one where I think one of Dimitri's posts, I think it was the one either where he says, "Thank you, Tobias, for writing this post. Please make sure you don't break the rules," or the one where he's like quote tweets the video. But Applezor, I mean, I hope, I don't mean to call the guy out, but this is just kind of fascinating to me. Applezor said, "You good, bro?" question mark or something like this in response to Dimitri, one of Dimitri's posts, which is just really fascinating to me because he's like, what, a community manager? Like, I don't know.
Yeah.
He has some pretty. Anyways, I say all this to say, I've heard different things, things that I'm not going to share, but it just, based off that event and other rumors that I've heard, it just feels like there's a bit of I don't know where in the chain there's like some disagreements or what, but it just feels like, I don't know. To me, this feels like a battle of egos, or maybe it's just ego. You know what I mean? It's not egos, it's just someone's ego. Maybe it's Dimitri. I don't know. I mean, maybe Dimitri's just the guy that's saying this, and it's someone else, Nikita. I don't know. But it just seems like, I mean, I don't know. There's always been some type of beef, I should say, with Logical, right? I mean, it just feels like it's been an ongoing thing, and apparently the hatchets were trying to be buried. But whether you believe him or not, I just think it's really dumb that, whether you believe or not that he data mined or not, whatever. But I just think it's really dumb that you post a video and make claims and then you get bans for allegedly data mining. Like, they they don't even have to show any proof. It's not like it's not like Logical's gonna sue him. You know what I mean? Maybe, I don't know. I doubt it, but I doubt anyone's gonna take it to court. They have like all the power in the world, right? With the agreement you sign. I mean, I haven't looked at agreements before, but I've seen a few people break this down. Like, I think Shamash, I think that's his name. He had like a lawyer buddy break it down, because there were some rumblings back in the day about it, because it's just like, it's really open for interpretations, as many like legal things are, is my understanding,
Yeah.
But it just like gives them all the power, it feels like. So I just don't know, man. It's like, who gives a fuck, man? Just let the guy play. It's just like, why can't you just make games? Just make good games, dude. I don't know, man. This seems like just such a I just don't even know, man. I don't know what they want. And that's why I say it feels like ego. Someone's ego got hurt, and they're gonna do something to make themselves feel better. You know what I mean?
think it's unfortunate that they acted so rashly. Like, it's because it's logical. It's because he's basically on his, like, I know they met up or whatever, but because of his history, he's like kind of on his like last warning kind of thing as well. It's not like just some random dude who's done it one time. Like, there's a lot of history there. But they've acted too fast without real proof, and have made themselves look stupid. If honestly, it would probably been better if they just like. Well, I don't know. Would it have been better? I'm not even sure. It was just bad. It was just bad. I was gonna say it probably would have looked better if they just like left the disqualification in rather than undoing it. Because now, like, all of those posts on
like
Twitter, right, are all like null and void. Yeah, they were wrong, right? And they unbanned him. Like, they were wrong, and all those posts on Twitter where they talk crap on him, right? Where they're like they're not right. They're not right about what they're saying.
And that's what I mean. It feels like there's someone that's like, not at the top of the hierarchy, but like still high enough, making big decisions on things that's, has it out for logical. Maybe it's Dimitri. I don't know.
Yeah, I
But
don't know.
it's just like, this happens, it gets blown up. It's like, well, you're making us look bad. What the fuck? Like, just, you can't do this. Why did you do this? And then okay, we'll fix it. And it's just like, just cover it up. It's just
And
like I
don't tell
said,
him because they're
man.
kind of ashamed, It's like, yeah, or a bit
I just,
embarrassed or something.
this is the one time. It's like, I just want like the corporation just to make the good product. Just focus on the product, man. Like, this is, I could care less. I care less about whether, how do I say this? I don't know. I could care less about what he does and doesn't do. But like, when you make a point of it and then it's just like a stupid point you're making, I care. And it's just so fucking annoying to see, to have this come up. It's like, man.
Yeah. Yeah. So yeah,
Anyways.
that was a lovely extra little piece on top of the poo poo pie that we've been able to create for ourselves with this whole thing. And then
one final thing I do want to say I thought was interesting, because Pestilly commented on it and he said, someone pointed this out and I thought it was interesting as well. He said, I would have done the exact same thing a few years back. There's no data mining here. It's actually good for the game. Hype's excitement, blah, blah, blah. But it's interesting. He said, I would have done the exact same thing. Which
I mean,
is
I think all he means there is that like he's just not as connected to it now. He just does his thing.
I guess,
you know what I mean?
I guess it's a fair point. Yeah. Yeah, that's a good point. I was thinking more along lines of like Nikita was, or whoever was, just like, whatever you do not post videos of our events right after you're gonna get punished, or whatever.
Yeah, I don't think it's that. You could interpret it that way. I don't know. Maybe you did mean that. Who knows? But
no, I think yours is way more likely.
Yeah.
All right, what were we gonna say?
So I was just going to talk about some of the stats. Like, they're not like, it's not like crazy stats or anything. Like, we never get stats from BSG on anything. But the main, I was interested just to see, because as we've gone through the challenge, you have seen people kind of like dropping off as time has gone on because they either think it's boring or, originally. The reason why I did it originally was because I wanted to see how many people just didn't participate on day one, because I think a bunch of people like me got caught out by the rules and Glorious and whoever who like ended up just not playing. So I was intrigued to see how many people ended up like not playing on day one. So out of the 1,454 people that were invited and had accounts sent to them, only 1,146 players received points on their character on day one, which is 79% of the players. So 21% of the players didn't even play, which is, I don't know. I'm not particularly surprised. I would be interested to see how many people would have dropped out if they'd made the rules sensible. Because
I would like,
I would like to know the breakdown. I mean, you could technically go and look, but like I can't be bothered. Like, to see the breakdown of how many people of those are EU, how many are Asia, and how many are US. I reckon a lot of those people are EU, just because the timing really, really sucks for us. But I've already complained about that enough. But from that, I was like, well, actually, you know what? We can track the dropout rate daily, because each day is posted as its own set of statistics. So you can actually look each day, like how many people are like, not playing anymore. So on day 2, you had 969 people. And to be fair, some people who were playing for fun said that they were going to skip certain maps, or they had to work certain days, or whatever, and then they were coming back to play other days. So, it's not like be all and end all. But 969 people played day 2, which is 67%. So there was kind of a 12% difference between day 1 and day 2. Day 3 and let me remind myself of which days were which, because I just keep forgetting. Because day 1 was interchange. Day 2 was customs. Day 3 was factory. So that was like, that was going to be so day 3 was going to be an insane meat grinder for a lot of people, because it's hard, right? The kill points on factory were, as we've just described, right? Like, gas analyzer gave you points on factory, great, but they don't spawn there really. So like, in the filing cabinet maybe, but that's about it. So there's the points on there were kill scavs with a pistol or with a melee. Melee scav give you 3, I think, in total. So So people like playing pistols and melees on factory, which is kind of hard anyway. So on day 3, 737 people played and got points. So that was literally 50%. And then day 4 was Woods. And on the Woods day, 617 people played, which was 42%. So each day so far, we've gone from 79 to 67, 50 to 42. So on day 4, less than half of the people who'd signed up actually bothered playing and receiving points on their challenge account, which is interesting to me at least. I'm going to keep tracking it and see what happens to day 9. I also think, if you are in, I don't know, the bottom 50% of points and you played all of the days, the incentive to play the rest of the days does start to diminish somewhat, right? Like there's absolutely no like way that you're going to win. And if you're not having fun, there's really no point in continuing. And I think that's fine. So that's like a valid, real reason to drop out. But I still think it's interesting to see how many people are still kind of in the running and still going for it. So yeah, 617 still in the running. And we'll see today. Because today's one is, as we said, is reserve. So we'll see what happens. I'll be interested to see how many people actually end up playing like the labs day, because that's like right near the end, I think. Is that like day 9? I think it might be.
I think it is.
We will see. We will see. But yeah, I like any time BSG puts out statistics of any kind. And if you do go to the challenge thing, you can look at it per day, kind of see it. You can't sort and filter, which is unfortunate. But you can see kind of like who killed the boss the most, who got like stream items the most. I think it's cool that they've got the API set up in this way to actually just collect all the information, because they can now run tournaments like this just on an automated basis and just like pick up what's happened after extract. I think it's neat that they've managed to do that. Maz has killed the he's got 30 points on the goons.
Oh, Hayes is in first on day 5.
Is he?
Yeah.
My man Hayes. Hayes is doing good actually. He was like behind a little bit on the first couple of days, but I was watching a bit of his stream yesterday on Woods, and he was doing really well. I think he came. Where did he come yesterday on Woods in the end? He came 65th, which is pretty good going. And I think of all the day, I think he was 100th yesterday. I guess today it's hard to know until the day's over. It's difficult to kind of know where people are placing, because like everybody's still getting points and some people are halfway through their run and like whatever. It's like very, very hard to know. But yeah, it was pretty good. Number 1 so far today. Decent. How many?
Man, he got really good. He's got 15 boss kills on day 5, which is
so that is killing Gluhar for 3 times and killing the guards 16 times. That's like, that's no joke. Yeah,
that's
and because
good.
day 5 only started an hour and a half ago, that's like pretty good going. Go Hayes. I mean, yeah, he's like as we said, he started at the beginning of the slot, so he's like theoretically got the most time in it compared to like however much he could have. Because I think he was starting his stream at like midday. He like moved his schedule forward, or back, whichever way it is. Like I always get confused by that. I don't know why. He moved his schedule up to midday, so then he's going from midday till like 9, I suppose. He does like an hour of practice or whatever, and then starts playing from just after 1 until like 9, whatever, until the game locks you out again. So I'm certainly on Team Hayes. Let's go Hayes. Do it, man. Let's get. I don't know what his stream item would be. I'm not sure.
Probably something to do with nuts.
Yeah.
These nuts.
So yeah, that's the stats. There wasn't actually too much there, but I thought it was cool. We'll see what happens on the other days. See how many people actually end up playing on the last couple of days.
Yeah, I think the most interesting one for me is day 1. The people that just didn't play at all, because when you got the time, EU getting screwed over effectively. That's interesting. I mean, I would suspect like in any type of, I don't know. There's got to be like some percentage of like people who sign up for something and then never show up. That's like consistent with these things. Like maybe like 5 to 10% be my guess. Leaning more closer to 5. I don't know. It's interesting, but yeah, I mean, there's like past that, there's a lot of reasons to stop playing as you go on. It's as you said. Like I anticipate we'll probably be down in like the 30s towards the end, the last 2 days. I suspect the drop offs to get smaller. Start really thinning out the herd.
Yeah, because the drop off. Yeah, so what did you say? The drop off rate so far has been 12%, 17%, 8%.
Mm-hmm.
So there was a big drop off for the factory day after.
That was the
day
meat
2.
grinder. Dude, I just can't get over the 8 hours, man. It's just, I guess, if this is your gig, this is just like another day in the office. You already stream 8 hours, 5 times a day, presumably, maybe 7, maybe the whole week. So, for some people, it's probably worse. It's just, man, it's a big commitment.
Yeah, I just think it would have been better for the challenge to be maybe 4 hours. I think it's fine for a challenge like this over such a long period of time. I think 4 hours is more sensible, especially given that there's like no break. It has to just run constantly like this. I don't think there's any reason for it to be 8 hours. Like it averages fine over 4. Like 4 is long enough. It allows people to like do some normal gameplay or whatever if they're streaming too. But
you can make an argument. More time helps with variance.
It does. You could make the argument, yeah.
But
so you like the best wins more likely on 8 hours.
You could just boost the loot or whatever you need. Just adjust the values.
Yeah.
If you need
it's on public servers though, so
yeah, I know. There's so many, dude. There's like there's so much polish needed to turn this turd into a shiny turd. It's tough. Mm-hmm. But speaking of turds, segue. No. Where's he segueing to? Wait, hold up. Giga's like, stop.
Hold on a minute.
What's not a turd, in my opinion at least, is the Twitch Rivals challenge. So kind of my big, anytime I got like Giga scarred from Rivals challenges, because the first time I remember hearing about it was like Apex, when that was like hot on the scene back in, God, I don't even know when that was. That's like 2018, 2019. I don't remember. And again, it was a public servers, man, and people were playing in rightfully slow. It's just not cool. But this is private server on the 16th and 17th, and check out these rule sets. Okay, this is really cool.
I'm mad.
Yeah, I really like this. Like, I'm gonna watch it. I'm gonna be interested in it. So 4 teams, 1 raid, up to 6 simultaneous raids. So I presume, like, I think it's a total of, is it 64 teams or 32 teams? Whatever.
It's only 24.
24, actually. Okay. So day 1, the raid map is streets, daytime only. Boss Kaban is 100% spawn. Night nice. Big Pipe Bird Eye, also 100% spawn at the Terror Group office territory. So the expansion and that new sector map, which is a really fun sector in the map. I like it, and I'm glad they're adding this in. That's really cool. Regular scavs are replaced with raiders and rogues in a 50-50 balance. So half of the regular scavs will be raiders, and half of the regular scavs will be rogues. I'm assuming USEC rogues, and yeah, I'm assuming that's how that works. I wonder if the USEC rogues fight the scav raiders.
I guess they won't. They'll be programmed not to.
Maybe.
That'd
be kind of neat.
It's already wild, so who the frick knows?
Dude, wouldn't that be cool if the I'm getting sidetracked. Wouldn't that be cool if the goons and like the raid and the rogues were on the team, and then Kaban and the raiders were on the team, and you could just like maybe come across. So anyways, all right. Back to the rules. Teams in the raid are matched randomly. If a player dies, they wait for the end of the round. They continue to participate with the team in the next round. The whole team dies, they wait for the end of the round, they continue to participate in the next round. So it's a team-based thing, essentially. You die, you're out, there's no revives, get good scrub. Objective, score as many points as possible in each round. Okay, how do you score points? 2 teams from each raid qualify for the next round. Priority for determining the place in the group is the top to the bottom according to the criteria. Extract Mystery Ranch Nice Calm 3 BS frame system. 10 points for each item. So I had to look that up because I wasn't positive what that was.
That one is the Bird Eye backpack.
Exactly.
But it weighs a ton.
It weighs a ton. It's like a 3x7. The most awkward backpack that's not even good. Is it even a 3x7? It might be like a 3x6. It's a really bad backpack. On every
it's terrible. I'm gonna look it up now. I think it's like it's 2 by 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Yeah, it's 2 by 7, and it weighs 15 kilos.
I don't even I think the only thing it has of value is like at vendors for a decent amount, if I recall.
Or maybe,
I
yeah.
can't say. Okay, so you get 10 points for each item. I assume that means each backpack you
I
extract
think
with.
so.
Because we'll get into that later. We'll come back to the backpack. So kill a PMC is 5 points. Kill a piece of a headshot is additional 2 points. Kill a boss is 5 points. PMC dog tag is 3 points. But it has to be killed by a player. The dog tag must be found in a raid and extracted from the raid. So there's a big caveat there. You can't just kill your team and get what would that be, like 15 points, or I guess 12 points if you extract it. All right, so kill a raider, 2 points. Kill a rogue, 2 points. Kill a boss guard, 1 point. Total value to items looted and extracted from location by each individual player. Differences in the price of equipment before the raid and after. 1 point for every 200,000 rubles of items value. Only items with found in raid status are counted. The equipment itself and loot taken from the other PMCs without the found in raid status are not counted. So, a little bit of caveats there, but I think most of us seasoned Tarkov veterans get the jargon there. If at least one player from the team completed a task, points are counted for the whole team. Okay. If 2 or more teams score the same number of points, the final range is determined by a priority list above, blah, 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 blah. After each stage, the points are reset to 0. Okay. Mystery Ranch, nice, calm backpack. Streets will have 3 of these items spawned. The cost of each is 1 ruble. Boss bird eye should not spawn with this item. So there's going to be, I don't know. I don't know if there's going to be hard spawns or it's going to be randomly spawn.
Yeah.
And the reason why it's 1 ruble, I guess, is to make it so that way it can't be like double dipping in points. You know what I mean? Like, so if you loot the backpack, you only get effectively the 10 points for the backpack and not 10 points plus the value of selling it to the vendor, or however they calculate the ruble value for that category. If the player dropped their armor, found identical, one extracted with it, they will not get points. Only the value of items that start a raid and the value of the extraction for each player separately, not the team in total, are counted. So again, it's like kind of confusing rule sets, but it's kind of a basic idea. You want to loot found in raid stuff as you typically would in Tarkov, looting.
And that has a high trader value because that's what's going to matter. Again, you don't want to be taking PSUs or capacitors out.
Want to be taking PSUs or capacitors.
You need to be taking streamer items and cyclones and that kind of thing because they've got like real in-game value. One thing I was just thinking about that, which is quite funny. Imagine like you go in, like I don't know, you end up like using a load of your ammo or whatever, and then you extract. I mean, presumably, like this is just my brain thinking about this stuff, right? But it's like, oh, how do they do this? It's like the value of items, so the looting points is the value of items looted and extracted, difference in price equipment before the raid, and the difference in price equipment after the raid. Like, presumably there's some kind of like cap on there, because like if you went in and lost a load of ammo, like used your meds, whatever, and then we just need to extract and go, and like you don't get any points yourself, and you leave, and you're like, oh, kit before 250k, kit after the 150k. Looting minus 100,000, and then you end up losing like half a point.
I don't know if you
your value is like net negative based on when you started. I mean, it's an unlikely scenario, but I was like,
yeah. Well, I mean,
make you wonder.
You say that it could be likely, but I don't know if it would actually go into the negatives. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know if you could actually go past 0 if they.
It depends if they've capped it or not.
It depends, but oh man, what was I going to say? I forgot. Oh well. Yep. So that's
day 1.
That was day 1.
I mean, that is wild, right? As a rule set.
Yeah, I mean, I love this.
With raiders and stuff. Like, man, nice. Like, not easy on streets as well. Jeez, dude.
It's 4 teams going head to head. I mean, they're competing for resources on the map. Like, I think it's just like, this is great. This is like, that's what I was gonna say. How is the economy game being managed as well? Are you gonna have? Because this is the thing. This is the really interesting part. Potentially, right? You're selling stuff to the trader to get points, right? For every 200,000 rubles that you sell, you get points. Not, it's cumulative of your team as well. So there's like an incentive to survive, to sell stuff that's found in a raid to get points that way. But there's also incentives to kill stuff as well, but that costs resources, and maybe you lose and die and you lose all that loot you had. I mean, Straight's got a lot of loot. So there's like a lot of interesting stuff there. But then the further question of that is, what's your stash going to look like? Are you going to have like an infinite ruble count and it's just like points you get from selling is how it works? Or like, do you have to also manage your own economy? Because then it's like, maybe you do want to prioritize looting stuff, get points that way to sell, so then you can kit up to do the other stuff like PvP or shooting the bosses. I really like that dynamic. I don't know if it's going to work like that, but I think it's really interesting.
Also, what's kind of fun about the rule set, I mean, it sounds like relatively sensible, right? A point for every 200,000 rubles on the streets, you could easily extract with like 1 million. If you say you find like a Bitcoin, right, that's like 400k on its own.
Yeah.
Like you could easily get loads, right? And so from 1 million rubles, it's going to give you 5 points, which is kind of on the same part as the PMC. So it's not that important, but it helps. Obviously, like if you can manage to get 2 mil or whatever, then like it's gonna be 10 points. It's like 2 PMC kills. So it kind of sounds like balanced-ish. But what's kind of interesting is that if you go in with a cheap kit, you actually get more points for that because it's the difference between your kit value on entry and your kit value on exit.
Well, see, I thought it was there was like a found in raid caveat.
Oh, that's true.
Where was that?
Hold on. It does say that somewhere. It says equipment itself and loot and take. Oh, it says equipment itself and loot taken from other PMCs without the found in raid status are not counted. But at the bottom, right, it says if the player dropped their armor, found an identical one, and extracted with it, they will not get points. Only the value of items at the start of the raid and the value of extraction are counted. So if you had an armor and then you found one and you kept that, I think like maybe it's like I'm actually not sure. I'm actually not sure what that means. Is it like
only the value of items at the start of the raid and the value of extraction for each player separately are counted? I mean, to me, only the value at the start. Why would
if you went into raid,
see the difference, right?
Yeah. So if you went into raid, you had a trooper on, you dropped the trooper on the floor, you picked another trooper back up that's finding raid, and you left. You wouldn't get any points for that, presumably,
right?
From what it's saying.
Would you lose points if you dropped the trooper and didn't pick anything up?
I don't know. I don't think so. But this is what we were saying about the capping before. I'm not sure.
This is the confusing part. It's like, why even have this line in here about this? Only the value of items at the starter raid and value of items at extraction are counted, because
if it's finding raid only,
right?
Then isn't that redundant?
Why even count anything at the starter raid?
Yeah,
I guess you need to see the difference.
Nothing will be finding raid though. But if like nothing you bring in is finding raid, then it doesn't matter, right?
Okay, so if I go in for P.A.K.A. and I kill Bird Eye and I loot his found in raid rig, do I subtract my P.A.K.A. cost to the armor rigged? Like,
I don't know.
That's kind of I don't know. That's why I wonder, like, is it gonna be like, okay, you have infinite rubles, but like there's gonna be like this way they track the numbers on the math side to get the right value. Like there's not really gonna be any selling. It's just like you do preset kits, or is there gonna be like an economy? I don't know. A lot of questions about this.
Yeah, because I would have thought, as you said, right, I would have thought it'd just be value of found in raid items on exit. I don't know why that's like not valid.
Yeah.
That seems cleaner to me rather than like start and end, but then there's another clause in there for insurance fraud. Like that seems like over-engineered. Although I guess like it does stop you from. I mean, who cares though? If you find a trooper in raid and you insurance fraud your thing, like credit them for it. So what?
Yeah,
like, you found it legitimately, right? And it'll come back in insurance. Like that's a legitimate Tarkov strategy.
I don't know if insurance will be a thing.
Probably insurance won't even be a thing, I guess. But even still, like it's a very niche situation. Like
they maybe just covering the bases. Either way,
maybe, but I don't know what it's there for. But anyway,
it's got to be found in raid to count for the value thing. But I mean, it's intriguing, man. It is intriguing. Okay, so let's move on to day 2, which is again 4 teams, 1 raid, up to 6 simultaneous raids. It's gonna be labs. There's free access, Tagilla and Killa spawn 100% chance. Raiders spawn on all other spawn points on the map. All players are given key cards to all the closeted rooms and labs. The price of each key card is 1 ruble. So again, you
can
can't
buy red and everything for 1 ruble.
Well, I guess you just have it. Like you just start with it.
Yeah.
But I get the reason why it's 1 ruble is because you can't. I'm assuming you can't sell it to get points via that. Someone's gonna be like, I'm just gonna forego my card and get 5 points for my team or whatever. That could be a legitimate strategy. That'd be funny. All right, yeah. So all extractions are available. Teams in a raid are matched randomly. If a player dies, wait in a round. Blah blah blah. We already know this. Objective: score as many possible points to each round. Extract advanced current converters. 10 points for each item. So again, I had to look this up, and it is what's the other name for it? I forget.
It's the new name for the MCC.
Yeah, the MCC. That's it.
I don't know why they changed it.
Don't know.
The far forward.
That was converter. It. The far, yeah.
But it said
only
MCC
spawns
on the
labs and Lighthouse. Is that correct?
It only spawns on labs. It spawned on Lighthouse for a week.
Okay.
And then they stopped it.
Hard to keep track of this.
At the beginning of 13.0. Yeah, I know.
That's worth 10 points. Kill PMC worth 5. Headshot, additional 2 points. Kill a boss, 5 points. Dog tags are 3 points. Raider, 2 points. And then again, we have the value of the loot that's found in the raid. 200,000 rubles equals 1 point. And we have the same caveats. The labs will have 3 of these events current converters, and the cost again is 1 ruble. And yeah, I think that's kind of everything. Everything else looks the same here. This is stage 2. And then there's a final show match, which I think is separate from the previous 2 stages. It's just kind of for fun. But this is really interesting as well. 1 member for each team ranked from 1st to 16th place. So I guess people have to nominate their players within their teams to participate in this. Which is kind of interesting. Can't wait to see what drama ensues from that. I'm sure everything will be fine. Team members will choose which of them will participate in the show match. Total of 16 people. 1 raid on shoreline location in 30 minutes. All players will spawn in 1 location. 1 participant for each team. When entering a raid, a toxin debuff is placed on a player, which kills them after 7 minutes. The airdrop drops a stimulant that removes the debuff and adds a new debuff that kills after 4 minutes. There are bosses on a location that are not involved in other stages. Airdrops come a minute and a half before the end of the debuff cycle. 10, 7, 5, 2, 3, 1 crates with 1 stimulant per 1 airdrop. The player extracts from the location alive and killed the most PMC wins. If no one extracted alive, then the player who killed the most PMC wins. There's only 1 extraction, which opens 25 minutes after the start of the raid. Objective: extract from the raid alive and kill as many enemies as possible. Result: the player who extracted from the location alive and killed the most PMC wins the show match. If no one extracted alive, then the player who killed the most PMC wins. So it's just 1 raid. You spawn in. You all spawn in together, which what? All players are spawned in 1 location? What? You're poisoned.
They mean location is in map, right? That's like the Tarkov.
Oh, is that what they mean? Okay.
Map, isn't it?
Because I was just like, what?
On the shoreline location, they always write. BSG always writes that.
Okay. All right. So, yeah. Okay. Yeah. All right. So yeah, we got that cleared up. You got poisoned. You got 7 minutes to find an airdrop. An airdrop comes in. This is the kind of the future part. When does it actually come in? A minute and a half before the end of the debuff cycle. Oh, okay. So it would come in at what? 5:30. The first airdrop would come. It drops 10 of them. 10 airdrops. I think I'm understanding this right.
And
then it's kind of like a Battle Royale-esque airdrop edition, if I'm understanding this right. So 5:30, 10 airdrops will come. There'll be 10 remaining survivors, and then 7, after what? Another 3.5 minutes. Oh, there's so many numbers. Whatever. It's gonna drop down from 7 after a few minutes. 7 airdrops will come down. People have to fight over it. Then 5 airdrops will come down, and it'll be 3 contestants, and then 2 contestants, and then 1 remaining person you gotta extract. and if no one extracts, whoever killed the most wins. So it's kind of an interesting mix of things. I think it's called like the Crank event or something
Mm.
from that one. Like this is pretty much that one rules or one event that they had not too long ago, but modified a bit.
Very interesting. I hadn't actually read this. So this is the first time I'm reading through this one.
Mm-hmm.
This, yeah, I mean, this is like, that's really hard actually. Okay, so first things that come to mind. It's a little bit like, I don't know, like, do you guys do musical chairs for like kids' birthday parties?
Mm-hmm.
Is that,
Mm-hmm.
don't you do that?
Yeah.
I mean, it's like that, right? It's
Yeah.
like 16 people and 10 drops come down, and then about 7, 5, 3, 2, 1. The second thought that comes to mind, you're not going to be able to hear anything through this whole tournament.
Yeah, I just imagined the planes. It's like in Rust when you can throw these airdrops. They'll drop like basically just call an airdrop, right? But they're little like canisters. So you'll have like a bunch of them and you'll just spam them out to get them all coming at once, and then you'll just see the planes like fly through each other, crossing in the sky, dropping airdrops. That's what I imagine. Just the server like freezes for a whole 30 seconds, and then the planes start stuttering across each other, flying into
Like,
each other.
is there even enough time?
What do you mean?
30-minute raid, right? So
Yeah.
it's like, see, it feels really tight to me.
I think
So
yeah.
you've got a toxin, right? So because yeah, as you say, it's a rehash of that end event that they did, and that end event was so good. But that was like based on, you had to debuff for, I don't know, 7 minutes or whatever. But then bosses and scavs had the antidote,
right,
and then, or to extend the timeout, and then you had to extract. Whereas this one though, it's like you enter the raid, you're going to die after 7 minutes, but the airdrop comes a minute and a half before the end of the debuff death cycle. So what does that mean? Like, is that, yeah? So that's at 5.5 minutes, but like it's got to drop down, and you've got to grab the crate, stab it in yourself, and then the next one you die in 4 minutes after taking it, right? On the second one, like 4 minutes is not long. Like you might not even be able to get across the map in 4 minutes. I don't know, man. Like this seems like such a short time.
Yeah, well, yeah. I mean, airdrop comes a minute and a half. I'm assuming it's after that 4-minute marker.
Yeah. So is it like 7 minutes, 4 minutes, 4 minutes, 4 minutes, 4 minutes, but an hour, a minute and a half before that? So it'll come through at what? Yeah, 5.5 minutes, and then 10.5. I guess if it comes at the end of the death cycle, like actually 4 minutes, then you can start to stockpile a little bit.
Well, this is the interest. Yeah, I mean, there's
so many. No, that makes it worse. That means you've actually got to really optimize your stims, do it like right at the last minute.
Yeah, I mean, there's so many interesting aspects because like there's going to be 10 dropping right off the rip, right? And like there's 16 players.
That, but it's like 5.5 minutes in. Yeah.
Yeah, but there's 16 players. So like, if there's only 9 players alive, that means there's one airdrop unaccounted for that you could like get. So now you have an additional stem. Any players you kill that didn't take the stem, you get their stem. So there's a lot of like, there's a lot of different angles. Like it's not just about running to the crates. Like it's gonna be interesting because now it's like, if I go to loot this crate, I might get shot at and die, but I need the crate to live. And then if you're the guy that's got like 3 stems on him from the guys you just been killing, it's just like, you don't have to do. And there's a lot of interesting things about.
It's quite snowbally. Yeah, you're right. Actually,
They're really snowball up. But then it's like, again, you don't. I presume you don't know how many people is left alive. So like, you could just come across an air crate that's been unaccounted for. It spawned in at the first wave, and you're on like wave 2, or sorry, the last final wave. Maybe like it's wave 5 or something.
This is going to be really fun to watch.
Yeah, I think so.
For sure.
I mean, I just want to say, whoever came up with these rules, I don't know if it was a Twitch and how much Twitch involvement. Like I could imagine some of the people that done like evasion stuff or like connected with Twitch. Whoever came up with this stuff, chef's kiss. Like this is a tournament. This is a tournament. These rules are like, I mean, yeah, the crank one, really cool, but even these I don't even
Yeah,
know
the other
what it's
days,
called.
those are good too. Yeah.
These this is. I mean, I'm gonna watch this. I'm looking forward to seeing what's gonna come out of this. I think it'll be cool. And it's only like I think it's like one day it's happening on or something. Let's see. Here's a schedule. Just exams playing Wellum. Hey, that's cool to see Wellum playing. Indra. Okay, so where's the NA only? Rip EU.
Guess what? It's NA only.
Why does EU
I saw-
keep getting
I
screwed,
saw
man?
it's just like where like EU. What's happened? Nothing for EU. Yeah.
I'm proud to be an American. Where is the dates? I don't see the dates. I'm pretty sure it's over 2 days, and I think day one is there's just one day. I was thinking maybe it's just one day, the 16th at 3 p.m. EST. Because I think the first phase is supposed to be like a couple hours, and the second phase is supposed to be a couple hours, and third phase. But there's a prize pool too, man. So we got stage 1 and 2 prizing. First place, pricing per team, $900. Pricing per player, 300. Wait, what? How big are the teams again? Wait, what? 3 players each. Oh, okay, that adds up. I thought it was 4. Okay, the math wasn't adding up. Okay, yeah. So first gets 900, second gets 450, third gets 150, fourth gets 0. Oof. No. What is that called? I don't know. Figuring out who's in third. Whatever. Overall points leaderboard prize after 2 stages. What is this? Overall points leaderboard.
I'm not sure.
Man.
I don't know, man.
Damn it!
I don't know.
You're supposed to help me, damn it. Whatever.
I don't know.
More money
know.
is all I know. Wait.
Mm.
Yeah, okay. After 2 stages. Then this one says stage 1 to stage 2 pricing. Overall leaderboard points. So maybe it's but it says per team. Dude, I don't know. Maybe there's for stage 1. Yeah, whatever. I can't make heads or tails of it. Someone else in the comments is smarter than me than can. Okay, show match prize is 500 in total to first place. And I don't know. I can't. It says team members, but it was like individual from each team. Whatever. I'm sure they got it figured out. It's all going to be fine. Yeah, this is cool though.
Yep.
He's.
Yep. No, I think this would be good to watch. Like, genuinely, it should be fun to watch.
Yeah.
How long do they say the first day is? So, like the streets one.
See, I think it's all in one day. I can't remember if it was 1 day or 2 days, but it seemed like
how many raids
pretty
is it?
fast. Well, if you think about it,
in each round score as many as possible. So I don't know how many rounds it is. 14's one raid up to 6 simultaneous raids because there's 24 teams.
So,
but I don't know.
Oh, that's a good point. Yeah,
I don't know how many raids they actually play. I'm not sure.
Oh, 2 hours. I see it right here. Schedule 2 hours is right in front of me. I was staring at it. 2 hours for stage 1 and stage 2, and then obviously, yeah, the event is just the show match is 30 minutes. So that's a total of
2 hours for stage 1 and stage 2.
Yep. So like stage 1 is 2 hours, and then stage 2 is 2 hours.
Oh, I see.
Yeah.
I wonder then whether they're doing like, because it doesn't actually say what the timer is for Streets, for example. But if Streets is 40 minutes, then I guess you play 3 rounds. Because it says here, if the whole team dies, they wait for the end of the round, they participate in the next round. So everyone like queues in together all at once, I think.
That's a good point.
It's not like the Punisher or whatever, where you're just like continuously cycling through, and then, when there's four teams, it'll go. It seems like you all wait, and then you all go again, mix random teams again.
That's probably a good thing, honestly.
Yeah, I think it's good, especially with a small number of teams like this.
Yeah.
And then it's not like how many can you cram in. It's like do your best in each raid. I think it's good.
I would hate for something to be like, one of your teammates dies and it's like the decision's being made. Okay, should we all just suicide so we could try again in a fresh raid? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So
you make some weird incentives if you do it that way. Yeah, exactly. I agree.
I'm glad it's like, no, like we're a team, we're a unit. We got to do this. So it's good.
Yeah. So that's it. But Rippy you.
Rippy you, man. 2x.
Oh man. Oh dear.
Okay, so should we read a comment?
Sure.
Okay. I picked this one out recently, and I do not mean to pick on the person, so I will omit their name, but I think the comment's kind of interesting in the sense that, well, I'll just read it. Okay, so adding armor hitboxes will level the playing field. You're no longer almost invulnerable to Timmy with his low pin ammo. The game is no longer about being a loot coomer. Is that allowed? Spotify, if it's not allowed, just send us a legal notice. Okay, so and obsessing over armor classes and ammo pin. It returns to being a hardcore tactical shooter where you are completing whatever objectives you set out for yourself rather than trying to kill everyone and stuff yourself with as much loot as possible. It will suck people who are here for the looter shooter, but will be amazing for us who want a hardcore, realistic tactical shooter as promised. If all guns become meta, that is a good thing, IMO. So, leveling the playing field. Break it down. First point. Yeah, kind of. Right?
I agree.
mean, if you're kind of just like it's how would you say it's leveling the playing field, you know? Cuz
It's
like
leveling the playing field in the way that patch 14 is now announced. We have replaced the entire ammo and hitbox system with a dice rolling competition. When upon locking eyes with another PMC, 2 dice appear in each of your hands. You roll it, and whoever gets the higher number wins.
I would say that's how it feels in
I know I'm being facetious.
Yeah, right. But I don't
want to come
think
across as an asshole, but like there's an element of that in there, right?
Sure, but I don't think it's that far of a stretch because it just, in my experience, playing on the SP branch, I could not tell when I was hitting them in the armor and not shooting them. Like you're just shooting in their vicinity. Ideally, their center mass or their head, but like, the head's a little more differential than a shoulder. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Or like collarbone. I don't know. It just feels a little too.
Too RNG.
But let me tell you, I could tell when I was on the receiving end when I did get shot in the chest. That I could feel, and that felt really bad. So let's say it was definitely a one-sided street or a one-way street there. You're no longer vulnerable to Timmy and his low pin ammo. The game is no longer being a Luke Cooper assessing over armor class and ammo pin. To be fair, there is a lot of obsession about ammo class and armor pin.
There is.
Rightfully so, though. It's kind of how the game...
because yeah, indeed. So this is the thing. Like, I don't think anything that they've said is actually wrong.
Yeah, I too am a Luke. I agree.
Clip it.
I agree. Yeah, I mean, these are true. Okay, so it turns to being a hardcore tactical shooter where you're completing whatever objectives you set out for yourself, rather than trying to kill everyone and stuff yourself with as much loot as possible. Oh man, hardcore tactical shooter, am I right? Back in the good old days when we had no medical animations, really hardcore No, I'm kidding. The thing I wanted to say here was the idea that you're, the statement here is you are completing whatever objectives you set out for yourself, rather than trying to kill everyone and stuff yourself with as much loot as possible. Is that not an objective you set out for yourself? Is kind of my thing.
Yes. I think the issue is that that ends up becoming the objective because there's nothing else in the game that for you to actually do, right? It's the most interesting part of the game. In the end game is the PvP and trying to min-max your loot as much as possible to take out as much as you can. It's kind of what you're incentivized to do.
Right.
I suppose just because you could just loot, that's like the meta of making money, but like in order to have fun, you kind of want to PvP and min-max other people's stuff. Thing is though, it will change the game significantly, and yeah, right now it is probably like Tarkov is more arcadey than people expect. I think especially at the top end. Like if you were just told about the game and you saw the trailers, whatever, like you wouldn't expect the emergent gameplay to be how it is, really. So again, there's a truth here where cover becomes more important, or picking fights becomes more important. Because like if you're at the top level, like you don't ever really pick fights. Like sometimes, like you pick your spots or your angles, or whatever, and like reposition and stuff. But like there's very rarely that I would see a top player be like, oh, there's 3 dudes, like I'm not actually going to fight them. Like to be fair, I do see them. I do see people avoid fighting low geared people in general. They go, I'm not even going to bother fighting him because he's got like he's got an SVT and that's it.
He has everything to gain, I have everything to lose mentality.
Yeah, and I do see that sometimes, but this brings more of that to the game. I mean, as we've discussed before, like I don't think it's good for the because Tarkov is all about progression, really.
Largely,
that's what keeps people so invested in the game,
right?
And I do think removing that is bad. I think like that is not as good. But yeah, it's hard, isn't it? Right? It's like trying to balance this. We've talked about this for literal years, and we've had people on the podcast about it, about the Juggernaut meta versus the most in man meta. How do you bridge the gap between somebody starting day one and somebody with all the endgame stuff, whilst keeping the progression, but still allowing somebody who's level 1 to kill somebody who's level 50. Like that's the tricky part about balancing Tarkov. And like, you can always shoot them in the legs, you can always shoot them in the face. That's typically the way that it's been balanced, right? You can always hit the guy in the face with the Makarov, and with the ultim being banned and no one really wearing face shields anymore, that's like probably as true as it's ever been. Do we want to push that further? My personal opinion is no. Yes, sometimes you are almost invulnerable to Timmy with the low pan ammo if they hit you in the stomach and the chest over and over and over and over and over again. But it only takes 1 shot to the face to die. So I don't know.
Unless it's a wild time round, yeah.
Unless it's what?
MP7
unless it's the APSX.
But he shouldn't have. If he's a true Timmy, like Timmy here, in my mind is like you don't have flea market, because once you got flea, you get tons of options. Like now you can like get leg mana ammo. All of a sudden, you can just like triple your value, your things that you're selling instead of selling traders, which you're probably still going to want to do. But anyways, you know what I'm saying. There's a bit of a different tier. Like 1 through 14 is a true Timmy, totally, whereas like 15 is like, you're basically halfway there.
Yeah, especially now, right? You can at level 14, you can buy 5.6A1 now, so it's like,
that's true. Yeah.
You still have to do the Peacekeeper thing. You have to know to do it, right? You have to know to do the dollars and
right.
Blah blah. But like it's theoretically possible. But yeah, I don't know. Like I mean, I don't really like that leg meta is one of the most plausible ways for low levels to kill high levels. Like I've never. It's a bit of a silly mechanic, but it's a weird emergent mechanic out of the way that the game functions. I mean,
I'm just not really sure how you do it in a way, because I think and this is kind of what I think has always been the case. I think the priority here in terms of game design is realism, not gameplay is secondary, because like there's so many different ways you could go about from gameplay perspective. But it doesn't seem that that's the incentive here, right? Like, did they... Unless I'm completely off bases, and they absolutely want to make it so that there's more variance, perceivable variance, I guess, perceptive variance. I guess either way you slice... I'm not even saying random, but just like variance itself is being added.
Okay. I mean, okay. How about this for an argument, right? We're now all for the armor hitbox system. Right, we're all for it, because this is going to be great for the game, because Timmy will actually be able to kill you more easily as a high tier player, but your armor selection will also save you more often. However, you have to. The issue here is about variance of outcome. And the situations that we're concerned about, in particular, typically is high damage and binary outcomes. Those are typically the problems that we're worried about, right? We're worried about performance to the side, to the underneath of the armpit. That's what we're really concerned about. We're actually not really that worried about like the current meta ammo, like M905, Golnik, like that kind of thing, because for ammo that's like low damage, let's say
Right.
under 40 damage,
Yeah.
for example, you still have to hit somebody 3 times on the thorax, unarmored, to kill them.
Mm-hmm.
If they've got, let's say, they've got unobtainium class 1000 armor on,
Right.
and it is random, as we say, and the coverage is about half, right? We're going to make some approximations. That means that your gun now will kill your opponent in 6 shots rather than 3.
Mm-hmm.
So they're still killable, and you don't get this like, I shot them 15 times and they didn't die anymore. You now get a 6 shot, whereas the person with unobtainium bullets is still a 3 hit. You see, so it actually is decreasing that range of shots dramatically now. So this brings me back to, okay, well, what are we concerned about? Okay, we're concerned about people just getting one-tapped by like stupid ammo that's never really been an issue before because we had full coverage. But now you can like get one tap to and it's really the thorax because on the head, like you die pretty much any time you get hit anyway, and it pens. And there's already segregated head hitboxes, so it's about the thorax. It's literally about the thorax. All that matters here, and about high damage ammo. So we come back to your idea, which I've actually not seen anybody else talk about, other than your Twitter post on it. Interestingly, which was increasing the thorax HP.
Oh, yeah. I was like, what is he talking about?
Mm.
Yeah.
So combined a slight increase in thorax HP to allow you to survive like more dumb stuff, and maybe some tweaks to some things like slugs and stuff. I don't really know how that would function. There's going to be some weird outliers here, but with those things taken care of, actually you could argue it's sort of RNG anyway. But if you add an RNG element in, then it's less about armor class and armor pen, and it's about armor class and armor pen for a percentage of shots, and then for the other percentage, it's a free for all. So it just starts to decrease that, like, oh, I killed him in 3 hits to 15 hits, depending on what ammo I'm using, and now it's 3 hits to 6 hits, depending on what ammo I'm using.
I mean, I would
I
say
think there's an argument there that makes it work. But yeah, these fringe outliers are still the concern.
at least a third of the ammo in the game, judging by my wiki scrolling, and this includes buckshot as well. So that's another topic, but at least a third of the overall ammo in the game can one tap you in the thorax.
Most of them are slugs, though. Most of them are shotgun shells.
There's a lot of shotguns, yes, indeed, slugs, and what's a non-slug called? I don't know, buckshot. Yeah, I guess buckshot.
Yeah.
But like War Mage, for example, do you know? You ever heard of a round called War Mage?
Battle Mage. Yeah, the War Mage. Yeah.
It exists.
Warmageddon.
It has 88 damage, only 3 pin though. But I mean, okay. 357 Magnum FMJ, 88 damage. TKM AP, the 336 AP round. 300 Blackout Whisper, FMJ 336, SBBT from the Mosin, R37F from the P90. I mean, a lot of these are like really bad pin rounds, right? Besides the AP one.
Yeah, this is the thing, right? When you look through, like the stuff that concerns me is basically just stuff you can fire like really quickly. Because you look through and you see like 338 Le Pour Magnum TAC X, it's like, okay, whatever, right? If you aim a shot and you shoot them and they've got no armor there and they die, like whatever, it's a bolt action. But yeah, it's things like, as you said, it's things like Flechette that just like scare the bejesus out of me because that's already really good. And things like various slugs and putting them in a 153. And then and then like God, what else? Like 45 rip, 9mm rip, like that just gets like bullet hosed out of guns.
Yes.
And the P90, the F rounds for the P90.
Yeah, because you only need one. You just need one bullet to land, and they're unarmored.
So this is where, if the rest of the coverage is 3 or 2, it will be balanced for the most part and be okay.
3 or what do you mean coverage is
like
3
plus 3 or 2? So say like everywhere else is plus 2, and then your place is 5. That'll be okay. This is all going to come down to whether areas are entirely unprotected on different armors and what the options are. That's where I'm going to stand on it for the time being. If you can cover the whole hitbox with class 2, like they've made some approximations, and like under the armpit is class 2 on something with side, for example,
that would help a lot.
We'll see.
I mean, it will completely I don't even know how you would do that, because would that even have an armor class? I assume it would. Can it be repairable? Probably.
I guess it would
Probably
be an innate.
yes, but
It
it
would be an innate like thing
wouldn't be
about
a
the
plate,
actual.
right?
Yeah,
Be
it would
like
just
an
be innate to the
innate.
armor. Yeah, yeah.
That could be a good solution, because that is my concern. Is like, yeah, as you say, you just take these high rate of fire rounds and like you just essentially jiggle your mouse and spray, and they'll die eventually, unless there's like some huge meta armor. But the worst case for me is the buckshot, dude. Dude, it was like so annoying. You just get
Mhm.
shotgun by, and it's like, oh, it just hit. Like it's shotguns are already like variants, right? Because they spread the buckshot. And typically in games, what they'll do is they won't. In a lot of classic shooters, they won't have. COD does this, I think, for the most part. They won't have multipliers on like head hitboxes, because it's you're. To me, it makes sense. You're not like, it sucks on one hand, because when you're really close, you shoot him in the head, you're not getting any bonus points. Whereas like, ideal. What's the word? I guess you realistically you would think you would, right? Like or you're trained to do that.
Hmm.
But in the opposite case, when you're far away and shooting them, it's gonna really suck when one pellet hits, like for the receiving guy, hits their head and they die instantly from far away. Hey, what do you know? We have that experience in Tarkov, and it sucks. So to kind of mitigate that, they remove the multiplier for the head, where it's just this general idea you're shooting at them and you're at the mercy of the RNG. You don't really have the double good RNG roll. All the pellets hit them, but it also hit them in the head, so I got the one tap.
Mm.
So same thing applies here. Now it's like one or two pellets. Like what's Magnum Buck? Is it 35? Oh, it's 50.
What?
So you just need two. You just need 2 out of 8 to hit them in the gaps. And you
What about
get
Shrap
lucky.
10 out of the KS23?
And it's like and the thing about the buckshot, you gotta remember, it's not just one bullet. It's like a wave, and it's gonna spread out, so it's gonna hit their arms, right? So like if the arm's
Mhm.
blacked from one, and they hit by another one in the arm, it's gonna hit their chest. And if one hits their chest, they're gonna like. I mean, I don't know the math here, but like you can see what I'm getting at. And the worst, the most egregious one of all is flechettes, because it's like it's literally covers everything. You cover flesh damage, you cover armor gaps, you cover armor. It's just you just point and shoot, and it just works, Giga. It just works.
You know what's going to be even worse about Flechette now?
But
Like what's bad about Flechette at the minute is that the blacked out's like splash damage and the fact that it's like lower compared to the other ones means that like armor absorbs, like all of that kind of stuff, like lowers down the damage. And it's actually quite hard to hit somebody in the head after probably like 15 meters or something. But now I suspect so your armor now has a durability, right? But it's one durability for the whole armor. When you've got the plate system, that durability is going to be cut into 4 different pieces, front, back, and the 2 sides.
right.
What that means, though, is that when you get shot from one direction, it's as if your armor is going to be like a quarter of the durability that it is. So
Yeah.
I wonder if Flechette will just literally just like one tap you straight through class 4 plates now, because it will do that with some armors, because it goes like it's like 1, 2, 3,
Wait,
4,
wait,
5. Because Flechette is sequential, right? And it calculates sequentially. It calculates dart 1, dart 2, dart 3, and the armor. So say before your armor was 80 durability, now your armor is 20, 20, 20,
Yeah,
20.
yeah, that's what you're saying. Oh my god, that sounds
If you get
so
shot,
bad.
you get shot from the front with Flechette.
No, take
Two
me
of them,
back.
2 of them hit thorax anyway, so that's going to be 50.
Oh no.
And then the other 6, or the 2 of them hit the plate. One of them takes it to 10. The other one pens, and you die.
Surely not. Surely they're gonna rework the whole thing, and it's gonna be like, if it was originally 80, it's gonna be like 40
80 all around. I don't know, man.
Probably not 80 all around, but if
If
I
it's
would
not, though,
think they
if
would
it's
have
not,
to
the TTK is going to get even shorter. By the way,
yeah, they're gonna have to do something. There's no way. Okay, if they just flip the switch where all of a sudden we have armor hitboxes,
and no one will be surprised. Sorry, what were you going to say?
Nah, they got to do something. Like, you can't just take 100 armor and then be like, oh yeah, we're gonna divide this up by 4, so each plate has 25, and it's gonna get instantly broken. Like, it's gonna get instantly dropped below 50% when it absorbs one bullet. Like, it's just they gotta give more to the armors. Like, we're taking away a pretty big thing. They gotta do something in the
That is
opposite
true,
balance,
right? Especially
right?
if you've
Like,
got
there's
like gaps
gotta be
in the armor and
something.
stuff. Like maybe they do buff them all up a lot
Because getting
on
back to my original
durability.
original point is like, it's just like, to me, it feels like we're just adding realism for the sake of realism, which is fine if that's your gig. But for me, I don't. It's like graphics. I don't really care all that much about graphics.
Mm.
You know, BattleBits, they've been doing a lot of updates to the game itself and like balance patches, which I've been playing a little bit of, which is nice to see. So I think that game's pretty fun.
I haven't played
But
that for a little bit actually.
yeah, you should check it out. I mean, I haven't like fully kept up with it, but they've like reworked guns that were like completely useless effectively, and they just recently reworked recoil attachments and stuff. So
Mhm.
you know, it's cool. I was messing around with it. But anyways, yeah, it just feels like we're just, you know, assuming they don't do anything, they just, like I said, flip the switch for like check mark divide 80 by 4 check mark armor hit zones now. You know, it just feels like we're just doing realism for the realism, not really valuing gameplay. Because for me personally, as a gamer, I like gameplay. That's what I value the most. It's in the word game.
Yeah. But no, I can see it working if the thorax HP goes up a bit. I actually can.
That's an
Kind of like what
option.
you said. And if the plates are like high durability, yeah, because if they're only going to work some of the time, like when they get shot, you want them to actually do the job, right? Like, yeah, keep the penetration thresholds the same as they are now, right? So class 4 will block something
Right.
that's lower than 35. That's fine. But make the durabilities, they're all like, 200 each or something. Because like if you can get shot through the side, then that's going to suck. It's just, yeah, it's these like fringe things that are annoying. It's like, then you're trying to balance like, oh, well, now the durability is really high. Now, if the coverage is too high, then it's impossible for somebody to kill you again. And then you've got these weird situations with the high damage slugs or whatever. So yeah, I mean, if you've got like, if you don't have anything that's unarmored, I think this is my final like overall take on this thing.
Hmm.
If you don't have anything that's unarmored and everything's got some armor at least, like +2 or whatever, when you put that on, then I think it might be all right-ish. I mean, Flechette's still probably an issue. But like, yeah, looking through the list of the top to bottom, like you were doing, again, it's only Piranha and Flechette that even have like double-digit pens
Hmm.
until you get down to a whole bunch of other stuff. Then it would block like Barricada Slug. Well, that's fair enough. That's fine. Same with 50 BMGs. That's okay. Lapua, that's fine. Custom Light Slug, again, that's 20. That would pen through that. So there might be some specific slugs that might be an issue, but we'll have to, we'll just have to see about that. And then, yeah, things like the .45 rip would get blocked, 9mm rip would get blocked, a Magnum would get blocked. Then you're into things like Ultra Nosler, which is like, yeah, it's like 15 pen through class 2. Like that's a 30% or whatever, and that would one shot you. But that's kind of okay because it's 760 NATO. So like as you move up the power of the calibers, I feel like it gets like more okay. And if you don't hit those parts, then you're not going to go through at all. So it's one of those things where if it's done in a sensible way to balance it, you'll still have some weird points where there's going to be an issue.
Yeah, no matter what they do, there's going to be some, you know,
Yeah, but you're
something
not just going to
to
be able to like
adjust.
you're not just going to be able to spam 300 whisper at somebody and just have them fall over.
Not unless you get lucky.
Yeah, so like
That's the
HP, that's
thing.
fine. TCW, but that's another not another.
Well, the one round you're looking for is going to be a 308 or a 762 by 54R round, because you get the best of both worlds. You get high damage and high pin, which is kind of like what the Flechette round is, and why it's irritating, because it's high flesh and, I wouldn't say high pin, but a good pin, but it's also a spread. But like something like the, you know, LPS even, or
But I think those are okay because of the guns.
yeah, they shoot slow, right? And
Yeah,
it's a
so
single
because
bullet.
that's what I'm worried about. I'm worried about somebody just loading up like flesh rounds in the MPX, the MP5, the P90, like these kind of guns, and
Oh
just
yeah, for
hosing you
sure.
from a long range and just like getting a one tap randomly.
Yeah, that's
So
gonna be super annoying.
yeah, so if like that's the thing, if everything has a class 2 at least across everything, and there are no unarmored parts. I mean, there probably will be some unarmored, but at least if there's an option to have an armor with, like, if you choose the thing with like the open sections that are completely open, like that's on you, right? Whereas if there are choices that give you class 2 everywhere, at least, and then some enhanced parts elsewhere, then at least you block like 99% of the issues. Like as we said, Flechette is probably still a problem, but I can't. There's not really anything else in here that's that much of an issue. Like each one that I go, oh, this looks problematic. I'm like, oh, it's either a shotgun slug, which is like, yeah, that's kind of like self-balanced in some sense because people don't really like using the shotguns that much. It blocks all the buckshot stuff, like all of the rip rounds, whatever, and then everything below that is below 85. So it's kind of like, yeah, well, it's like single shot, like Magnum HP. You don't need to balance that because it only goes in the revolver, so it's kind of whatever. There's not that many things. Like, yeah, 366 FMJ, like that can do it. But again, there's 2 guns for that, so it's balanced on the guns. Like outside of the shit, I think it might be all right. If the armor choices are correct.
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of ifs for me,
There
man.
are.
I just feel like they got to do more than just flipping 2 switches. Just got to do either buff the thorax, give a base material, class 1 even, class 2. I'll take it. I don't either something, man. I just how many scavs are gonna just one tap me with like not EKO, whatever FMJ or whatever, just like random ass RBPH BT in their Mosin, like just some really annoying shit.
I just wear like a class 2 jumper or something.
This is the thing, like one tapping never feels good.
But if it's in the head, then you accept it, right? That's the caveat I will give, right? If you get shot in the head, you're like, fine. Because it feels skilled. It's hard to hit the head.
It's like, I know that he put in the work and the effort to do that. But when a freaking AI scav with buckshot does it, okay, first of all, it's AI, but like when a player does it with buckshot from 500 meters away, I'm just like, bro, no, man. That's what I'm worried about. Is
like you rolled the accident, like you didn't do that on purpose. Like you just spammed at me and you rolled the accidental like win.
It's one of the things I love about Marvel Snap so many times is like, there's just really stupid metas and stupid cards that don't get tweaked yet. But even so, there are times where people will make, like I had this guy made this play on the other day, and I was just like, you know what? That was a good play. Like I can accept I got completely wrecked there because that was a skillful play. Yeah. I think that's kind of it for that. That was a fun little.
Yeah.
Well, good. Keep sending in the comments. Don't forget, you can send us if you want us to play your message on the recording, the podcast. You can send us on over at anchor.fm, which it might be Spotify. There's a link in the YouTube description. You can check it out. If you want to send a message, you can do that as well. Yeah. Other than that, I think we're running out of time. Perhaps next week.
Yeah.
I'll talk about my despair.
We'll talk about Church's copium next week.
Yeah.
Yeah.
More. Gotta refuel. Gotta send another order to Amazon.
Refuel.
But with that,
cool.
We'll wrap it up. As always, thank you for tuning in. We'll see you all next week.
Bye-bye.